Hey, David, I explained this to Mark, but when we play the Wallach interview at 7:21, the clip that I have is 8 minutes and 58 seconds because I had to clip like the beginning where it was talking about how it's the Diamond District bonus hour because it won't be. So we'll have 1 minute and 2 seconds for you guys to
Phil,
say whatever you want at the beginning, or we can do it at the end. It's
no,
up to
at the
you guys.
beginning.
Beginning,
because
okay.
we announced it's the Diamond District bonus hour. We vamped because he wasn't on right away, and we had about a minute. So
we'll just do that, and then I'll count Mark down when it's when we're on time, and then I'll hit fire on the thing, and we'll be good.
So how does it start?
It starts with you. Your first question. You're just like David or Daniel Wallach here, joining us, kind enough to join us. Thanks for your time. That kind of thing. So it starts right in that. Are we gonna play it like it's happening in real time, or are you guys gonna say this was yesterday?
No, we don't lie. We just say,
It'll be smooth then.
because most everyone listening at 7:20 will not have heard it. So,
Yeah, good point.
KW, you really didn't think you were going to see an Iowa game last night? That was a tough beat, though, if you laid the points. Tough losing on a half. A good game, KW, or a close game?
that's the big question you have to ask yourself. Kind of like snake on a pizza.
That's not a big question, nor do I have to ask myself. What comeback last night?
San Jose?
Here we go in 10.
Well, you're not referring that Bears game as a comeback, are you?
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on a Football Friday.
Football Friday.
How the heck are you? Hope you've had a good week. Thanks for ending it with us, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. How's your week been, Mark? How you doing?
My week's been busy. It's been good. It's gone quickly. I woke up this morning going, man, it's a Football Friday already. It seems like this week has just flown by.
Lee Sterling, Pat Kirwan to join us as usual. We were able to get a hold of Daniel Wallach late yesterday and record an interview that we'll play for you coming up next hour, and we'll get the legal expert that many refer to nationwide, but who's been fortunate enough to be our legal expert when it comes to, well, anything, but especially sports gambling. We'll get his take on what is going on with the Seminole tribe, the state of Florida, those that protest against it, state court, federal court. How long are we going to have the Seminole Sports app? Daniel Wallach, the interview that we taped with him yesterday, we'll play for you coming up next hour. But, well, the weekend got underway football-wise, Mark. I mean, Maction was nice. It was. Tuesday Maction better than Wednesday Maction. But, it just, I don't know. It wasn't trying to think of the appetizers that I like, because I don't want to say that it was, meatballs or calamari or something like that. I don't know. Maybe a veggie plate.
Maybe a jalapeno popper. Not everybody's thing, but
Good
some
point.
people's thing, if you know what I mean.
That's a good point, because I can be a wuss when it comes to how hot and how spicy I like it. It depends on my mood, and some poppers are milder than others. So that's a good point. It's a good point. I liked the poppers on Tuesday. Didn't like the poppers they served on Wednesday.
A little too spicy for you?
Yeah, or just tasted bad.
Right.
So, but we got underway last night, and have to admit we had a top team in the country on the ropes in the fourth quarter. Could have played their way right out of the conference championship game. They rallied, and the Bears helped themselves and won all at the same time. There was no way the Bears could lose last night, and so they didn't.
What really was impressive about last night's game, David, was not who won and who lost, but the fact that you can get a first quarter punt return 6 minutes into the game and have the game not come close to being over.
And the over
not close.
And the over was not 40 either. The over was in the high 30s. You get a punt return. By the way, I think that's only the fifth punt return this year for a touchdown.
That's correct.
Because we've seen two of them on Monday Night Football. They both happened at MetLife Stadium. So that's how I knew that.
I just happened to hear them say it last night after the punt return happened, because I will admit that I watched some of that game.
Oh, wow. Wow, good for you. I
had it on for the majority of the game. I did not have the sound on for the majority of the game. I wanted to listen to a little bit of Al's grumpiness about the game. And that didn't do much for me. So I started listening to the volume of a hockey game went on while that was in the background. But those games set back football years. But nobody notices.
You can have a close game, still not be a good game. And that's what we had last night. But the Bears won. And they're going to go back to Justin Fields. I mean, come on, they have to. I really don't know if they want to. But they have to. Even though they're 3-7 on the season, they're 1-5 with Fields and 2-2 with the D2 kid. Coincidence? You decide. So they don't know if Fields will be ready for their next game, but they said as soon as he's ready, he's going to play. So who do they have? The Lions next? Don't they have division games lined up here? Lions, Vikings?
Yes, Lions on the 19th.
Just our Lions season ticket holder there. Just,
Don't question him on that one.
I didn't. I knew I could get confirmation. Okay, say it loud, say it proud.
He's restoring the Roar single-handedly over there.
I'm curious. All right, what is his attire today?
Oh, head to toe Lions.
Okay, well, man, he is following in Felipe's footsteps here.
I don't know if he owns any clothes that are not affiliated with the Detroit sports team or Michigan State University. I am yet to see him wear anything but a Pistons, Lions, or Michigan State garb. That's it. He's been here for a few weeks now.
Trent, now you need to answer this honestly. If you had a date tonight, what would you wear?
I ditched the hat, but I'd just be wearing a t-shirt. I'd probably put some jeans on, so I'm not wearing.
But a team t-shirt?
Yeah. Why not? I mean, to Mark's point, that's all I own. So I do have a nice little Michigan State golf shirt.
Once again, that's a team shirt. So in other words,
let's rephrase this. If you are going to church on Christmas,
Oh, I have the Lions ugly sweater that I wear.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
notorious for it, and my mom hates it, but that is what I wear to church. One year, my
Wow.
dad even let us, I think it was 2011 when the Lions clinched a playoff spot on Christmas Eve or something like that. We went to Christmas Eve service. My dad let us wear our jerseys to church. Christmas Eve service. That was something.
Oh, Mom was not happy.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
she threw her hands up on that one. She just whatever.
So confirmation, okay, you meet a young lady, you decide, hey, let's go out. You don't have a let's go out shirt.
What you see is what you get. Why hide it? This is what it's going to be like anyways, so first impression, boom.
Are there people that you would not like? Would you not date someone if she was a
Packers and Wolverines? Wolverines less so because obviously coming from Michigan, I mean it's more than a half split for those.
So you wouldn't date a Packers fan?
No. It would take a lot. I mean, I'll never say never, but it would take quite a bit.
At least there's a team. Wasn't Bears, wasn't Vikings. It was strictly a Packers fan.
Trent,
take that, Wisconsin.
Granted, Trent, I haven't been on the market in a while. Okay. But I'm just thinking it's going to take more than the first encounter to find out if she's a Packers fan. You know,
I'm guessing he leads with it, David.
That's what I'm wondering if maybe he like meets her, likes her, goes out with her one time, and maybe on the, you know, is like, wow, I like this girl. Okay. And she's attractive. And then, you know, she talks about, oh yeah, I just love the Brett Favre.
Yeah, that would be a tough one. I will say, I mean, like we don't need to get into all this right now because
what do you mean? It's our show. We go down the roads we want to go down.
I have stories that are along these lines. Like one time I met a girl for happy hour in March of this year, so it wasn't that long ago, and we get, you know, into our conversation. We're like 2 hours in, and all of a sudden she goes, "So what do you think about the Dallas Cowboys?" And I go, "Here we go." She's a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Okay.
She was. That was brutal. That's not a deal breaker.
That's the wrong attitude. You found a woman that likes football.
Yeah, well, yes, correct.
I mean,
and you ditched her?
Well, I moved here.
Well, that was March. You can't blame us on ditching. I mean, come on now.
It sounded like happy hour. It was not an instant thing. There were a few more happy hours after that, but then, you know, I had to go to Nashville first and foremost. And
wait, I mean, so she brings up Dak Prescott? That's a deal breaker? I mean, I don't understand.
He leaves the state.
Oh, man. All right.
Like I said, I have stories for you. I just
we could tell. I mean, you know, the first 2 hours are going swimmingly. She brings up the Cowboys, and you're like, well, this isn't going anywhere. Okay.
I mean, you've got to be honest, though. If you were dating a Cowboys fan, you know she's a little delusional.
Oh, you're right. Well, and that's good, though. She may think you're hot stuff when you're a 6.5. You know, so yeah.
The correlations between your personality and what team you root for on Miller and Moulton. We'll break it all down.
Yes, we will. On a Football Friday.
Football Friday.
There you go. And Trent's dating life. Trent, you got to remember, most of us we're married, okay? Or we're recently divorced, okay? And we're not. So, you know, we can live vicariously through, you know, we were young once. Okay, you know, and so it's good to hear someone else who's young do some of the same stupid things that we did.
Well, there you go. That's the buzzword because, you know, the people in the Twitch chat room, young and stupid, they say.
Yeah, well,
that's all right.
Yep.
It's warranted.
Exactly. Okay, one usually goes with the other. Anyway, so we're underway, both the college and the pro season, because Louisville nearly blew it last night. Oh man. They've got the perfect path. Remember, Mark Packer, right as the season was started, Mark Packer, ACC Network, we had him on the show, and he said, watch out for Louisville. And we said, yeah, they got the schedule. And he goes, and they got the coach, and they got a quarterback, and they can do this. Louisville doesn't play Florida State, Clemson, or North Carolina this year. Mm-hmm. And now, they're pretty good, but that helps.
Right.
That does.
We told you yesterday that number was inflated. Neither of us liked that number at
No.
20 or whatever it was. Thought it was
Right.
way too many points for a team like Louisville to be given up. They'd only beaten the last two teams by a significant margin, and they were bad teams in Vatech and Georgia and Duke without their quarterback. So they had not beaten teams by that much of a margin last night. There was a close game, and they escaped.
And they were losing in the fourth quarter at home. So there. So we're off to a good start. Lee will make his picks in about 45 minutes. We'll make ours. 7, by the way, is my number, Mark. 7.
Way to stay consistent.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had a winning week last week, so you know it's not going to be 5. It'll never be 5 again, because if I lose, I'm chasing, and if I win, well, why am I going to make less picks? So
Just try to keep it under 10.
I try to keep it out of double figures. I'm like Trent with his wardrobe. I'm just trying to wear a team shirt every week. That's all.
Miller and Moulton. The starting 5 is 25 minutes away. A great show lined up on a Football Friday right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Well, good to see at least Sparty could beat Southern Indiana.
Needed it. Big time.
Needed it. Stop it.
Needed it for morale. How's that? Now I can have
stop
a good weekend.
Oh, for your morale?
Yes. My morale. James Madison last night, did they end up winning? They played Kent State, and they scored 5 points in the final 2 seconds to force OT. Let me see if they hung on.
Hang on, I'm looking right now. Yeah, they won by 5 in double OT.
Wow. So they're 2-0. So, I mean, that loss was...
Stop
it. It was in East Lansing.
Stop it.
They
They
might-
lost to James Madison. There's nothing good about that loss.
What if they end up being a
it's
Sweet
the-
16
It's the
team?
first time they've lost a home November game since 1986.
First ever for Izzo. It's bad. It's bad.
Since before I was in college.
How far do you think Michigan State goes? Just real quick.
I have no idea. Haven't
Because-
watched. I
Sweet 16.
Okay, so that's fair. Because then I guess my my point is just, what if James Madison goes to the Sweet 16? Then and they could. 2-0 mid-major, favored to win their division.
Okay, you need to realize that results happen in November. FGCU beat USC last year at USC, first game of the year. FGCU finished 10th in the ASUN.
Yeah.
USC won a tournament game.
So not important.
Well, it's just that it's a long season.
Yeah.
Purdue, Sparty.
Yeah, Purdue's they're the preseason number 3, I think, and they actually have won their first 2 games. So I actually like Indiana. I love Illinois. Love Brad Underwood. David, here's something that I don't think we talked about yesterday, and I know it's not likely, but do you think Belichick would take the Bears job?
Yeah.
That would fit identity-wise.
Yeah, just as long as that president, Kevin Warren's only dealing with the stadium and isn't dealing with football.
Right.
That's fantastic. That I never had seen that story that the U.S. national team lost to a bunch of 15-year-olds before the World Cup.
Oh, man.
The women's team lost to a 15-year-old boys team.
So that was foreshadowing then.
Just that they're...
No, just talking about the physical differences between men and women.
Right.
Because Clay Travis has put
Yes.
up $1 million.
The Clay Travis thing is wild.
Well, that's okay. He got a betting service to put up the $1 million on the other side.
Yeah.
And so far, the Aces ever answered?
No. It's not. I wouldn't either. It's a no-win for them.
Although now it's very different, but I remember, the Gus Mackers, the 3-on-3 tournaments.
Yeah.
So there was 3. I went to a good high school basketball team. 3 kids from about 4, but you played 3-on-3. Played a girls team. There were 2 college players and a college women's coach, and it was something because the girls were really good, and they ended up beating them. But every time the guys tried to call a foul, everybody watching wouldn't, basically, because you call your own fouls. I'd never seen anything like it. Because the crowd just kept growing and growing, and they were pulling for the women.
Sure.
Kind of stuff's very entertaining. Go Raiders. Yes, I think St. John's will be all right this year. They play Michigan on Monday. So that's something to watch. 5 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Lee Sterling with his picks coming up in 40 minutes. Got his game of the week right last week. He's got a great record this year if you pay for Lee. Funny thing is, the stuff he's given away on our show has been 500 at best. But, you give him 2-3 shekels, he's been money. So there.
And Lee's always done the Florida games and or the big games when he comes on our
right. He doesn't necessarily do the games that would make him look good. He does the games that he thinks that our audience has an interest in. Like when he goes on an Alabama radio station, he does a whole different set of games. So there. And he's, he owns up to it. He says, hey, this was my record. Got it right, got it wrong. Mark laid down the gauntlet on him, over 15 years ago. I had him on a couple times. He had him on a couple times, and we each did our own thing. Once we joined forces, Mark said, here's the deal. We like you. Okay, we're going to document all this, and we're going to hold you to it. And he's like, okay, bring it on, dude.
And on his big plays, Lee encourages us to post the bets right after the games have started. He can't give out his secrets before the game and give his information out for free to people, but literally after kick, he's like, if I've got a big unit play, put out what's there before the game's right when it kicks.
So Lee Sterling in about 40 minutes time, Pat Kirwan in our 8 o'clock hour, and Daniel Wallach in an interview that we recorded yesterday, a quick 8 to 10 minute interview about where we are with this Seminole Gaming Compact, state of Florida, the people protesting it, federal court, if and when it'll go before the Supreme Court. So Daniel Wallach in an interview we recorded yesterday in about an hour with some great insight. Short, sweet, to the point. Daniel Wallach, 1 hour from now. I did a radio show appearance a couple days ago. It involved the Gators. And those on the show were telling me that Napier's not in trouble. And I said to him, yeah, maybe not today. And I go, but, they won't win another game this year. And then I threw it back on them. And they're like, no. I said, do me a favor. You know a lot more people than I do. Are the money people behind them? Yes or no? I said, name me one big money person who's in his corner. Or are they all just gritting their teeth and tolerating them? And they said, yeah, that's kind of what it's like. I go, yeah, what happens when they all get together, have a drink after a game for an hour and decide, yeah, I don't think I can put up with 2 more years of this?
David, I think he can survive losing out. I do. But an embarrassment Thanksgiving weekend can do horrific things to someone's career.
So you think it could come down to how they look against Florida State?
I do.
That if they play them tough like last year,
Right.
Terrific game last year,
Right.
Entertaining, lost by 7. That kind of a game, you think he'll be all right?
I do. The recruiting class, you can see, even if,
Yep. Here's what I don't know if it works for him or against him. If you're keeping him, you really have to commit to keeping him for at least 2 more years.
Exactly.
And I think they know that.
And the schedule next year is ridiculously hard.
Yeah, it's harder than this year's. And so you're not going to see dividends till 2025 at the earliest. But you're not convinced you're going to see dividends in 2025. See, that's the problem. Think about it. Let's, go back 13 months ago. Knowles fan, they weren't sure Mike Norvell was the answer. In fact, more of them were thinking, I don't know if this is going to work out. We're stuck. We're still paying off 2 coaches and we're a mess. Maybe we'll just suffer through him getting us out of the abyss, and then we'll find the coach that we really want. And then, boom, it popped. And it popped maybe a little bit more quickly than even they thought it would, where 5-7 became a 10-win season. Boom. And then you looked around and you went, well, we're actually pretty good. And what'd they have? They had a quarterback returning. And then they, the one thing Norvell has done better than Napier is the portal.
There's no question there. But to me, David, you've mentioned this before. He's got the quarterback coming in, the 5-star. But I think if he stays and he can get Mertz to stay, then he can let the 5-star have a year to get ready.
Right.
Red shirt. Which even doesn't matter whether someone red shirts anymore or not, because they're only there until they're done, until they're ready to go to the next league, if they're that good.
Or the next school.
Dadgum good point these days, David.
So we're 2 games into the 5-game gauntlet for Napier. He's 0-2. They go to LSU, and we know how good Florida's been on the road this year. At least they play at night. Apparently the Gators, they even say, we don't like them noon games. Get over it. I don't know. Start exercising in the morning, something. But
You can change those new games. Just win more. You'll get a 3:30 slot. That's all you have to do.
Trust me, you'd rather play LSU at 11 a.m. in Baton Rouge than 6:30 at night. Trust me. Because for as sleepy as you are, it ain't as sleepy as they are. So they're going to get the full Death Valley experience. So they're going to lose. And then I think I was asked this question, and I'll ask it of you. Of the 3 remaining games, their best chance to get a win?
Believe it or not, I think it's LSU.
Wow. I think it's Missouri.
I think it's LSU because that defense is a mess.
It's not good.
And
not good.
Florida should have the ability to score points against LSU.
I agree.
It's why I think the LSU game is their best game to win. I think Missouri, I know Missouri had LSU and blew that game.
Well, the reason that I picked Missouri is I wonder if the Gators are going to get Missouri in a good spot. Missouri will have just gone Georgia, Tennessee back-to-back. And then Florida can slip in. That maybe Georgia and Tennessee deliver all the body blows, if you know what I mean.
Right.
And then Florida can just slip in and get them in a good spot. And also, if you're a Gators fan, you're rooting for Tennessee tomorrow. You want Tennessee to basically say to Missouri, all your hopes and dreams, they're shot. Okay, they're done. You're not even going to a New Year's Day bowl anymore. You're not going to the Outback. I mean, that's it's done. Good luck at the Gator. That sort of deal. But so that's all. We'll get to Canes and Knowles and whether or not Miami 2-touchdown underdog. 2-touchdown underdog. Whether or not Miami's got something for Florida State or not. And if it's based on last week's performance, the answer is no way. So it's a rivalry game. We'll see if both teams are up for it.
Miller and Moulton. The text line is open at 21,000 for any of your comments. The starting 5 is next. Lee Sterling in a little more than 30 minutes time right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other. With a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
That could be a poll question: is which remaining game is most winnable for the Gators?
Or we could do something Miami, Florida State based.
So I'm getting my car washed yesterday.
Working at the car wash.
And my car's about done, so I walk outside from the inside part there, and guy standing there, he looks at me and goes, "Hey, I'm the guy that hates Ken Herbeck, too." Because I've been listening to you guys for years, man. Love the show. Bob is his name. Cost me $5 too, because I don't know if I was going to tip. I didn't have any ones, and I really wasn't going to tip the car wash guys. And then I get that. You got
Sure, you got to
go to the hip. Then
you got to be big man on
you
campus.
got to be big man. You can't
right.
not tip there. I'm like,
No.
son of a bitch.
Yeah, but now you can put a name and a face next to those texts. That'll be worth it.
Got out of the soccer tournament for the weekend. That's done.
Yes.
Well, I found out yesterday because it was very unorganized. They put him in an under 12. My daughter's 9. One of the teams we were playing is the team that we played with last year, who's gotten better and added more. I'm talking to the coach before the game. I go, Derek, you'll beat us 47-0. He goes, oh, at least.
Well, then,
because you can't play against us. I'm like, I know.
So you get to watch football tomorrow.
I gotta go to a birthday party at 2.
Yeah, you'll see most
if the wife's not home. Well, it's all right. It's at somewhere that has televisions.
Okay.
So you'll be driving over at halftime of Michigan Penn State.
David, where are you at this weekend?
I am in Columbia, Missouri.
Have you been? How many times have you been to Columbia, Missouri?
Twice. 2014, I think it was, Alabama, Missouri. Might have been 2011. And then 2016, the very first game Brad and Gary did, reunited on CBS, was the Friday after Thanksgiving, Missouri, Arkansas.
Matt, I'm sorry. He's in there. There you go. See? I had to at that point.
What's up with the whole Ken Herbeck? Come on now, Matt.
It's Ken Herbeck.
Nobody's ever. I mean, the only person who would hate Ken Herbeck is the owner of an all-you-can-eat buffet. That's the only person who would hate Ken Herbeck.
I don't like him.
Childhood trauma.
Oh, he's a Braves fan. That's why. Wait a minute. United has no live TV. Isn't that all their advertising? That their television's on every...
Not United. No, not United. Maybe on their new planes.
That's their whole thing. It must be all their new planes or whatever. But they're running those ads about a screen on every seat.
Yes. You're right, Wes. Absolutely. Yeah, Americans famous for if you get a screen, they don't provide live TV. They provide like movies and crap. KW, I don't believe that for a second about Ohtani and his agent looking for a short-term deal. No way. He's going to get it now. He only has to get one team to buy in. He'll get a team. No.
Where would you say with a gun to your head?
Well, listen, we've been saying everybody's saying the Dodgers, and Mark might be Dodgers, but I'm Mariners.
Seattle.
Yeah.
Oh, because of the Ichiro connection?
Well, and also he has a place there and the community, and I think Seattle will give him the blank piece of paper.
All right, here we go.
No, I don't, Lindy.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, Lee Sterling with his picks at the top of the hour, 45 minutes away from a taped interview we did yesterday with Daniel Wallach, legal expert about the Seminole Gaming Compact, the app, how long we're going to have it for, in all likelihood. Is it going to go before the Supreme Court? Will the Florida Supreme Court intervene in the next week? Daniel Wallach's thoughts, short, sweet, to the point, 45 minutes away. It's a Football Friday. Let's get to it. Time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Boy, that's like the scripted plays on the first drive working. You pound that sucker in for a touchdown. Don't settle for that opening drive field goal that everybody's famous for.
It's like when you go to happy hour, she tells you she's a Lions fan.
Or a Cowboys fan. Bears found themselves down 10-3 to Carolina. Fortunately, Carolina drafted Bryce Young, and he's not ready, and neither are they this year. And so they could, methodically take their time, come back, and, they won 16-13. Carolina drops to 1-8, and the Bears have their first-round pick. So the Bears right now look as if they're picking first or second in the draft. Meanwhile, they won to go to 3-7. That'll drop their pick down to like 5, 6, 7, something like that. So, whew. But they're 2-2 with this Tyson Baggett kid, the Division II quarterback. They're 1-5 with that Justin Fields guy. That Fields guy is expected back for the next game against the Lions. They say they're going back to him. We'll see. One other football note. Got to go back a couple years. Chad Wheeler was a lineman with the Seahawks. Before that, he was a lineman with the Giants. And he was arrested on domestic violence. And he actually got convicted. Seemingly, none of the athletes get convicted when they beat up the women in their lives. He was found guilty of domestic violence, and apparently he's going to do at least 5 years in jail. So, there you go. Nobody's touched him since 2021. He was with the Seahawks, got arrested, they released him, and, nobody's been interested in him since. College football last night. Louisville down 21-14 in the fourth quarter. 2 late touchdowns, including a 73-yard touchdown run with a little over 3 minutes to go to break a tie. And the Cardinals are 9-1. 9-1. They're going to be in the ACC title game if they don't screw it up. They beat Virginia 31-24. One other game, Frank Gore Jr. with the winning touchdown in overtime for Southern Miss as they edge Louisiana 34-31. Jalen Daniels practiced yesterday, so in all likelihood he's playing tomorrow against your Gators. Sorry about that. Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers, he's missed a few games. He's coming back. He's going to start against TCU for the Longhorns. And how low can they go? The Rutgers, Iowa over-under started at 30. It's now in the high 20s. Lowest over-under ever is down to 28. 28! And the game's a virtual pick'em.
15-14, your expected final.
Or a fourth. Yeah, you can't tie anymore. So,
well, I mean, it's 28.5 is what I, so.
Oh, you've got the half?
I've got the half.
Okay, I've got it at 28. So, anyway, I think if you're a, degenerate, come on, you got to place a couple shekels on that one just to say you bet a historic game. Because when are we going to see an over-under lower than that? I mean, as a guy with a sports book said yesterday, there have been 1,500 football games in the last 5 years who have had higher over-unders on the first half. NBA. 2 really good games. The first was in Mexico City. Atlanta, Trae Young with 41, Murray with a late 3. Hawks beat the Magic 120-119. Paolo missed a 3 to give him the lead with 7 seconds to go. Mark, here's the interesting thing. Everybody raved about playing in Mexico City. I mean, Trae Young made it sound as if if things don't work out with me and the Hawks, if they put an expansion team here, I'm in. He said the atmosphere here was electric. Players on both sides said, this was fun. We'd do this again. When we're talking expansion, we think it's a done deal. It's Seattle and Vegas. Could it possibly be Mexico City? NBA's like, oh, we're coming back often. Huh. Okay. Giannis with 54, and they lost. Mark, it looks like you just picked the wrong day to bet the Pacers.
I know. They've been on a roll ever since.
They're 6-3, and that's with the 51-point loss to the Celtics. Indiana 126-124 over the 5-3 Bucks. One other NBA note, which may be interesting or may just be a footnote. So the young lady who took over as president of the NBA Players Association and negotiated the last contract with Adam Silver, she had the job for 2 years. She's out. She didn't want the job anymore. She said, "Nah, I did my work here. Can I leave?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." They named Andre Iguodala as acting executive director of the NBA Players Association. And the thought is he may get the job full time. Huh. That's interesting. They don't normally go the former player route. College hoops last night. FIU lost to Tarleton State. North Florida beat Charleston Southern. South Florida over South Carolina State. FAMU lost to Nebraska. But on the women's side, Florida State beat Tennessee in a terrific game. It was nationally televised, by the way. 92-91 for the 18th ranked Noles. Caitlin Clark with 44. Listen.
She's pretty good.
If Wemby's must-see TV, so she. 44 of Iowa's 80 points, and they're the third-ranked team in the country. They needed all of it to edge Virginia Tech, another top 10 team, by the way, 80-76. Miami won, Florida won, North Florida won, FAMU and FAU lost. Hockey. Man, for as bad as what was it? Was it Tuesday night that I went over on my hockey picks?
Well, you can go over a lot in hockey because the only games you typically bet are when a team is plus 300 or more. Right. You don't have to win, but one of every 3 to survive.
And so I just, played 2 normal hockey bets on Tuesday and lost them both. But whenever it's big, like Mark says, I take the line. Chicago was like plus 270 at Tampa last night. Yeah, Connor Bedard, 2 goals, 2 assists. Someone his age hadn't done that since 1944, by the way. Blackhawks beat the Lightning 5-3. Stammer did score his 5th for Tampa. But Mark, there could be changes coming in Edmonton.
Oh, yeah.
Because the San Jose Sharks beat Edmonton 3-2. The Oilers now fall to 2-9-1. San Jose was like plus 350 in that game. So the two long shots hit last night, baby. Rangers with 3 in the third beat the Wild with their third string goalie 4-1. The Bruins are 11-1-1. These guys just won't quit, will they? They're really into this regular season stuff. They're like, yeah, what we did last year, well, we can do that again. Charlie Coyle with a hat trick, 5-2 over the Islanders. And Crosby, guy from Pittsburgh's pretty good. He had a goal and assist. And Russ scored in overtime. They disallowed it, so he scored again. And the Penguins beat the Kings 4-3. And guys, I got to be honest, that's all I got. I mean, there's some obscure golf taking place, but whatever. So at 12 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
So how much of a
So the
shot?
Butterfield Bermuda Championship doesn't do it for you?
I'm sorry, the Butterball Bermuda Championship? What is that? Because you have to admit, Mark, if it was the Butterball Bermuda Championship, I would have led with it.
David's thinking of turkey.
What is that, Butterfield?
The Butterfield Bermuda Championship. Alex Noren 10 under yesterday.
What is Butterfield? Is that a spread? Is that an accounting firm? What is that? You pay all that money to put your name on it. Man, I just...
Must be big in Bermuda, David.
Well, what? I mean, it could be the Ganja Classic then, if we're going with what's big in Bermuda. Hello. So, all right, let's talk Knowles Canes here. Do we think Miami shows up? Or do we think that yesterday is the beginning of, remember, once it went south last year, it went south for the rest of the year on Mario and the boys. Their worst effort of the year was last week in Raleigh, 20-6. They lost to NC State. It's a horrible effort. And now here come the Knowles, and the Knowles are healthy this week. They had a lot of guys who didn't play against Pitt. They all coming back for the Canes. They didn't play against Pitt for a reason.
Exactly.
And now they all back. All those wide receivers are back.
I don't think Miami lays down by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't think it matters. I think Florida State's going to whoop them.
Whoop them as in, the line's 14-ish.
As in whoop them.
Ooh, look
Mollywop?
at you.
Mollywop.
I think they're going to mollywop them. All right.
That word has scared my wife. Out of nowhere, we're sitting on the couch watching a show, and in the middle of it, she says, stop the show. And she goes, yeah, that word that you guys used. And I go, mollywop? She goes, yeah, don't use that. I go, why? She goes, I don't know. It just sounds like that's a word that could come back and haunt you guys. That word could have multiple meanings.
I don't know. When I'm reading the definition of the Urban Dictionary, I think I'm safe.
I know. That's what I said. I said, no, honey, we didn't know what it meant. We looked it up. And she's like, there could be some 17th century thing that comes back and gets you guys in trouble. I'm just worried for you.
Fair enough.
Okay. So
I appreciate your support.
Yeah.
You're thinking of us.
Her concern. But so all right. Do we think the Canes? Yeah, we know they'll play hard. Come on. It's their biggest game of the year. Come on. We know that. But do we think they got it in them to give them a game? You asked the guys on Florida State, by the way, when it all began to turn, and they say, oh, this game in 2021. When we surprised them and beat them in 2021, that's when it began to turn. You got to be on it. Mario could pull it at Doak. I mean, he could do this, and everybody comes on the wagon. Everybody jumps back on the wagon. we're going to get more players, and we're only going to be better. Best Florida State team in nearly 10 years. Oh, yeah.
And it could be a game at halftime. I just think that bigger, deeper, far better, that they will wear them down. And as you pointed out, the receivers all coming back. These receivers are no joke for Florida State.
No, they're pros. Yeah, they're pros. They got 2-3 guys. They're going to catch passes on Sundays. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I just, some places the line's down to 13.5. It was as high as 15 that I saw. Spitz in our Twitch chat room said he saw it at 15.5, but it's basically 14-ish. Goodness knows Lee Sterling's going to have a pick on that game. That's his beloved Canes. We're going to inject him with truth serum. And his picks are next. Daniel Wallach in 25 minutes here on Miller and Moulton.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Who's more likely to beat Florida State, the Canes or the Gators?
Oh, the Gators. If for no other reason, the location of the game.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Watching the end of this Kent State James Madison game.
Chaos.
Oh my gosh. By the way, do you know where that Loyola Marymount FAU game was televised? The basketball game, you're like, it's not on anywhere?
You mean the Loyola Chicago?
Loyola Chicago, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Barstool TV. It was their tournament.
Huh.
Oh, look at the new backdrop.
Uh-oh.
Everyone's gone green screen on us.
It's the 30th anniversary backdrop. Try it out.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Is that what that is? That's a 30, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. How long you guys been together now?
17.
Okay. When it's 20, I'll make you
a backdrop.
So I tell you about my Thanksgiving weekend, what I planned?
We got 13 people coming over our place. We didn't invite a single one of them.
Wow. We usually have 30 to 35 at my house, but we're doing a little change up. So we're going to see my daughter, New York City. And so we're going to the Macy's Day Parade Thursday morning.
Oh, that's cool. My daughter was in it one year. It's awesome.
So then we have the next day, Dolphins and Jets.
That's
Black
right.
Friday. We come back from the train that night, Heat and Knicks. And the next day, get some pizza in Brooklyn and go see the Brooklyn Nets and Heat on Saturday night. How's that for a weekend?
Wow.
Huh?
That's a pretty good weekend.
What time's the Heat Knicks game?
7:30.
Okay. Good luck.
I know.
Good luck. My football game's going to end 6-ish.
I know. I got free tickets, so if I come in a few minutes late.
All right.
That's the only hookup I got for free. So, but in a box for the Jets game for the family, and yeah, and then so didn't want to go. I think there's a Giants game on Sunday or Monday. Didn't want to do that.
No, come on now.
Didn't
You
want
love
to press
your
my
family.
luck.
Come on, right?
That's right.
Nobody needs.
How about that
needs
game
to
last
see
night? Was that painful?
Tommy DeVito.
Was it
Oh
ever?
my God! Wow.
Here we go in 10 seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And it's hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on a Football Friday.
Football Friday.
And it always begins with Lee Sterling. He of Paramount Sports, ParamountSports.com, 800-400-9741. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Paramount Sports. And another reason you should be watching us on the Twitch.tv Miller and Moulton channel. Lee Sterling breaking out the screen behind him, superimposing. It's 30 years of Paramount Sports. After that, he's going to do the weather.
I don't know about that. Let's not get carried away.
Come on now. We all know what the forecast is this time of year. Okay.
Sunny.
Mostly sunny, highs in the upper 70s to low 80s. And I'll see you on Monday.
I usually get the shows that I do in the Midwest. They usually ask me, how's the weather? And I'm like, you really want to know?
No, don't
I
ask.
tell them, all right, say, listen, it's about 78 degrees, and I think there's a cloud forming about 90 miles away just off the tip of Cuba.
All right, we got some sexy games this week. to talk
do.
about. Meat on the bone. Let's start with the mighty nooner tomorrow, Michigan, Penn State. I've seen it at 4. I've seen it at 4.5. We'll just go Michigan by 4. What do you got?
So, do you guys agree or disagree? I think that Penn State's got to play with the lead here. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They don't have enough offense to come back against teams. They showed that against Ohio State, Lee.
Here's what amazes me. If I'm the head coach of Penn State and I know what I have on offense, I'm going to be showing certain plays to set up other plays in your 2 big games. And I didn't see that. So if James Franklin plays it like the last game, they're dead. And the pressure is going to be on him. It's going to start ratcheting up. But I think that playing at home is really important. When they went and they played Ohio State, they didn't have the experience of playing in a big game. Now I think they do. Michigan's played no one, maybe a little bit, what's going on with this investigation. I thought that we were going to hear something yesterday. I didn't hear anything here, but I don't think Michigan's tested. I think playing at home, maybe playing a little looser for Penn State's the difference here. Number 1, number 2 defense. I like Penn State here, 24-20.
Oh, calling for the upset.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That would be big. That would be big. And I think Michigan, with everything that's going on, has got their ears pinned back, and I think they're just going to keep destroying teams until they take on Ohio State here in 3 weeks. LSU and Florida. We're trying to find a win for Florida the rest of the way to help Billy Napier out after losing that game against Arkansas. I think this is their best chance, but 13 is a pretty big number. How do you see this one, Lee?
Well, I have a feeling that Daniels going to play in this game. And if he does, I think it's going to be tough. I mean, the kid is just so accurate throwing the football. He's a leader, knows when to run. Florida, another school, coaching job. I know they don't have a whole lot of talent, but come up with some different plays each week. Get the kids excited. I don't see it. Sunbelt Billy, not there yet. Next year is going to be a lot of pressure on him here. I think LSU has too much offense here, 41-21.
All right. Do the Canes have anything for the Noles? We thought they'd have something for them, and then there was that performance last week in Raleigh. Florida State, let's just say it's 14. It's been 14.5. It's been 13.5. Let's just say Florida State, the number's 14 against the Canes. Who do you like?
A lot of concerning things other than, it's been an underdog road series against the spread. The underdog, I think it's 19-6 against the spread when they're getting points. Other than that, and Miami's offensive line is much improved. That kid Fletcher and the offensive line, they played hard. When you have a quarterback that can't throw the ball from late second quarter to the last pass of the game, past 10 yards, you're in trouble here. I don't know what Mari has planned, but he should have pulled him at halftime. And then I think the icing on the cake was, if you're upset with the way Miami's coaches are doing the job, 4th and 1. They line up in a formation. The North Carolina State calls timeout. They showed one play. They ran the same exact play after the timeout. Are you kidding me? So I just think Miami's up against it here. Florida State's turned the ball over 5 times in 9 games here. I think Miami's going to play hard, but it's not good enough here. I like Florida State here, 34-13.
To Sunday we go. Tampa coming off of one of the worst losses that we can remember the Bucs having, giving up the touchdown drive after taking the lead late in the game. They've got Tennessee. They're a 1-point favorite.
Tennessee, I think, is going to be a tough out. Made a good, wise choice going with Levis, and I think the Tannehill era is over. I like how they stated they're going to go with Levis for the rest of the season. Think that their defense is, I think, going to be good enough. Baker Mayfield was good enough. Doesn't happen often for them to win the game, but the defense, just couldn't get pressure. It was a disaster. So I think Tennessee with their passing offense, now all of a sudden DeAndre Hopkins has become relevant again here. Give me Tennessee, 23-20.
D-Hop looks good.
He does.
D-Hop looks like D-Hop of 2-3 years ago, in fact.
It just shows you, David, when you're getting the ball, you know, how invigorated he is again. He just last year when he was at Arizona, that whole organization playing with a quarter.
Well, you may see it with Devontae here the rest of the year with the Raiders too. Okay, because O'Connell's going to feed him. Okay, because Jimmy G and him were not on the same page. You may see a resurgence from Devontae as well. This is an interesting number. You know, the Jags have won 5 in a row, and they're home, and the Niners have lost 3 in a row, and they're on the road, and San Francisco's the 3-point favorite.
Well, I mean, San Francisco's healthy. They're tough out. When they had everyone on the offense, Deebo Samuel and Williams, left tackle, they were rolling, and they would control the ball between 32 and 35 minutes every game. It seemed like the offense for the other team never had the ball. But those 3 losses, 28, 26, and 25 minutes of ball control. I think that Brock Purdy needs everyone to be the guy to keep that offense moving. And Jacksonville, everyone talks about the offense. Defense, leading the NFL takeaways, 18 takeaways. I think they're underrated. Think they're close. They kind of paid their dues last year, going up to Kansas City, learning a little bit there. Tough game, but I like Jacksonville at home, 26-20.
Your game of the week, Oklahoma State coming off the Bedlam win against Oklahoma. They are taking on UCF. How do they get it, Lee?
We're going to find out if this is a trap game or not. Oklahoma State, biggest win in a long, long time, in maybe the last Bedlam game. You want to get it for free. Oklahoma State, UCF, the bounce house. First 10 callers, 800-400-9741, get it for free. And how about this? First time ever, history, we rate our games from 10 to 50 units. First time ever, we have a 40-unit play on Saturday and a 40 to 50 unit play on Sunday. Normally, got to be a monthly or season subscriber. Those 2 plays, huge plays, best bets, plus 5 other plays, college football and the NFL, $117. One place, ParamountSports.com.
Ooh, a 40-unit Saturday play, a 40-plus unit play on Sunday.
Send it to you guys so you have it.
Oh, we've already got it. It's already been sent. As I'm here on my Bet Hard Rock app, logging those in as we speak.
800-400-9741. Call right now. Get the Oklahoma State UCF game of the week pick, and it's a very interesting game and an interesting number. Oklahoma State, a 2.5-point favorite. Lee, have a great weekend. Thanks for your time.
You too, guys. Be safe.
Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports, ParamountSports.com, 800-400-9741. So he's calling for Penn State and the Jags to both win at home. They're both small dogs. Penn State around 4.5, Jags around 3. Otherwise, he'll take LSU and Florida State to cover the big numbers against the Gators and the Canes.
And when Lee has to pick against Miami, it hurts him.
Right.
You can hear it in his voice.
Right.
That it just plain hurts him to pick against his beloved Canes.
And he knows the history that the road dogs are 19-6 in the last 25 meetings between these two teams. And and he's still taking the home favorite. That is painful for him. And that should make you feel good if you're loading up on Florida State, though. If the Cane season ticket holder there, okay, if a guy who I think put at least one of his kids through school there,
right?
He's sent them a lot of money. And he's laying.
Golf shirt's worth a lot more than my golf shirt. You know what I mean?
And certainly a lot more than Trent's golf shirts, which he's wearing on all dates, by the way. That's what we found out in the first hour of the show. Trent's wardrobe has no diversity to it. None. He doesn't even have a church shirt. Doesn't have a date shirt or a church shirt.
No, it's a collared Michigan State shirt. That's his go-to if he's got to put a collared shirt on.
Right.
Or for Christmas, he's got the Detroit Lions ugly Christmas sweater that he wears to church. Wow.
Should we get him a date shirt?
I won't wear it.
What do you mean you won't wear it?
Well, first of all, I got to go on a date. I got to figure
will.
that part out.
You're a young, decent-looking guy. Okay? I mean, trust me. Listen, you're
probably
gonna.
the nicest thing you've ever said to me, David.
Well, I've only known you a couple weeks. Okay,
You're a
Trent,
nice, decent-looking
looking
guy. Quote, that's the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
And might ever say.
No, come on now.
No,
I
I'm
mean, I'll warm up. I will. So, Trent, you got to realize, I mean, there are a lot more good-looking women than there are good-looking men. Okay, and they have to settle. Just take a look. Just
Take a look at the two of
around
us.
you.
Just take a look at the two of us.
Look at Miller and Moulton. We are way out over our skis. Okay. They have to settle. Okay. So you're fine. You're good. Whether you're a 5, a 6, a 7. I mean, if you're an 8, 9, or 10, that's fantastic. But they have to settle.
I will take a vote of confidence. Thank you, David.
No, it's just you need to. Miller and Moulton are big on self-scouting. You need to know the landscape. We're just trying to tell you what the landscape is out there. Feel better about yourself. Okay, when you're looking over at this young lady, okay, at first glance, she may not think you're the one. She'll talk herself into it. She's got to settle. You don't.
And before you know it, you'll be wearing a Gators shirt, going to the Florida game, rooting for the Gators. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening, Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So we have to fill for a minute 2, right?
Yes, minute 2.
Yeah, so you guys can, do whatever, and then doing the math here, at 7:22 and 2 seconds, I will hit play on this. So at 7.
Well, you just have to give Mark the 10-second countdown.
Yep.
At 7:21:52, I'm giving Mark 10 seconds. Just talking out loud here. I know this doesn't matter for anybody except myself, but I just talking to myself.
A couple of quick texts. Another thing going for Trent, he's the producer of an award-winning radio show. That will impress the chicks.
Wait, what?
Hey, there you go.
Right. And then the other one was over under 2.5 girls in 12 months for Trent. I'll take the under.
Me too. Except I can't bet on that because I have control over it.
And the Royal Bank of Butterfield, David. It's the Royal Bank of Butterfield.
That Butterfield's a bank?
Butterfield's a bank. So we've got enough to get through this minute.
Butterball. Canada Relief Benefit. Great joke. Harry Potter fans out there, if there are any. For some reason, I wouldn't say that Miller and Moulton and Harry Potter go hand in hand.
No. Never read a book, never seen a movie. No interest.
My grandmother got my daughter, I think, those series, and she didn't open it.
My wife's read all of them.
I have. Oh, yeah. Canada Relief. I got the joke. It's a great joke. I'm just saying these guys don't.
Nah.
It goes right over their head.
So they're celebrating Veterans Day today, right?
Yes.
And today's a big day.
The Michigan thing.
No.
Oh.
No, today was the day when. I mean, it is a big thing today. 1969. You got it?
Sesame Street?
It's a big deal.
All right.
Say the year again.
1969. Sesame Street premiered on PBS. You got win one for the Gipper today.
That's Sesame Street, man. There haven't been 10 more important TV shows. I don't know if there have been 5. That's one of the most important TV shows ever. Sesame Street?
Yeah, that's a good take.
That changed America. Sesame Street.
Generationally, too. Not many shows like that. Oh my gosh, I watched The Golden Bachelor with my aunt last night. The Women Tell All. I don't know if you have any idea what I'm talking about.
No, I know the show of which you speak. Yeah. I'm aware that the show exists.
So they do at the end of the season, they bring back all the women that got sent home. They bring them back on the stage, and they all just kind of go at it. Although this was a lot more tame because they're respectable, a little older women. Usually when it's like the 25-year-olds, it's just a...
So you watched this show?
I watched an hour of it with my aunt last night and drank some white wine. I never drink wine, but I enjoyed some white wine. Enjoyed is a strong term.
What team shirt did you have on?
I had on him. You know what? This is a good little chance here. We're coming back in 30 seconds, but I do have a lot of like band t-shirts as well.
Okay.
Music. Because David, to answer your question, last night I had a Metallica tank top on. So there you go. So it's really sports and music. That's all it is.
I'm going to take you to Banana Republic.
Totally.
Buy you 5 plain colored t-shirts.
Plain
a black, a green, a blue, something a little lighter when it's warm out. And so just so you can go with the jeans and the plain t-shirt.
Yep.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
It is 21 minutes past the hour. We'll make our picks against the number coming up in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Pat Kirwan to join us at the top of the hour. We'll go through the week 9 slate in the NFL? Week 10? Week 10 slate in the NFL? But we do a bonus hour. It's just for Southwest Florida. And during it, we were able to get a hold of Daniel Wallach yesterday, legal expert for The Athletic, and talk to him about the Seminole Gaming Compact. Gaming and sports attorney Daniel Wallach, kind enough to join us. You can follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Wallach Legal. Wallach Legal. Daniel, it's David and Mark. Thanks for your time. How are you?
Daniel, are you there? Well, for whatever reason,
We can't hear him.
We cannot hear him. There we go. There it is.
Yeah.
Daniel, you're there. Now we got you.
Yeah, perfect. Now it's crystal clear. How are you?
Great. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, this is my last night for transatlantic flight, so this will be my final radio interview in Europe. So I'm coming home, and hopefully there'll be some resolution sometime soon. I'm flying right into two pending court battles. So it's like nothing has changed over the last year except sports betting looks like it might begin, but we don't know now for how long.
Well, that's the question. I mean, in your best guess, for how long are we going to have sports gambling in Florida?
Well, I look at this in increments, okay, because you have to consider the state court case separately from the U.S. Supreme Court case. Right now, what's in front of the next battleground is going to be this emergency motion to suspend the sports betting provisions of state law. That's going to be decided within the next week, and I think I've been on record as saying that this is an uphill battle for Wes Flagler because they're litigating in Governor DeSantis's home turf, which is the state Supreme Court, where he appointed 5 out of the 7 justices. And I've done my research on this. There have been like 14 similar lawsuits brought against Governor DeSantis at the Florida Supreme Court seeking the same remedy, a writ of quo warranto. The Supreme Court has never granted that writ against Governor DeSantis. So putting aside the merits, I think politically it's a very uphill battle given that this is a very DeSantis-friendly court. I think the argument is pretty good for Wes Flagler, but I expect, and I've said this all along, that to the extent there's any success for Wes Flagler in overturning online sports betting, I think their best shot is at the U.S. Supreme Court, even though the Supreme Court denied a stay a couple of weeks ago, but Justice Kavanaugh, I think, gave Wes Flagler a little bit of hope. But I don't expect much to happen at the Florida Supreme Court. So from a timing perspective, I don't think anything is going to change for the next several weeks.
He's the legal analyst for The Athletic. He's co-host of the sports law podcast, Conduct Detrimental. He's Daniel Wallach. Follow him on Twitter/X at Wallach Legal. You had said to us many times ago, best chance was before the U.S. Supreme Court, but you also said once upon a time that once the court says we're going to take your case, that most people involved in the dispute stop what they're doing out of respect to the Supreme Court. A, do you still believe that? And B, if the court's going to take this case, when will they let that be known?
Okay, well, number one, I still believe that, but the court has not yet taken the case because there is not yet any case. The deadline for Wes Flagler to file what's called a petition for writ of certiorari, which is the appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. That's not due until December 11th. They said they're going to file it by November 20th. And, the operation, or at least the relaunch of online sports betting, was the battleground over an application for stay that was made by Wes Flagler at the same court, at the U.S. Supreme Court. They didn't have a pending case yet. But they filed this preliminary emergency motion and said that we're going to file a case later on, but for now, we want everything stayed. Those are very difficult to get. And the denial of that doesn't necessarily mean the court is going to deny certiorari as well. So I think once the stay was denied, I mean, that was all about the relaunch. The Seminole Tribe are free to move forward, at least in the federal court system. And let's say the U.S. Supreme Court is interested in this case. The time frame on that will have an answer, I think, by the end of March, because if the petition is filed November 20th, the Seminole Tribe and the Department of Interior get 30 days to respond to that. Wes Flagler will get 14 days thereafter to file their reply brief, and the petition and all the supporting and opposition papers get distributed to the justices for their weekly conferences at some point in January. And I would expect we'll know by the end of January, February, or March, in that ballpark, whether the Supreme Court is willing to hear this case on the merits, or as they do in 98% of the cases, deny the petition for writ of certiorari. If they grant, will the Seminole Tribe stop? I don't think, in the absence of any further motion, I don't think the Seminole Tribe are required to terminate their online sports betting. But what will happen is if the U.S. Supreme Court grants certiorari, what Wes Flagler might then do is file another application in the pending case and say, now that the court has granted certiorari, can we stay, or recall the mandate from the D.C. Circuit? So that possibility exists. But if it's going to be a denial, we'll know in about 4 months. And that's the earliest point at which a U.S. Supreme Court ruling could force the Seminole tribe to terminate or at least suspend its online sports betting provisions. But in the federal court system, there's not going to be any adverse court order or emergency motions for the next couple of months, to the extent that there's any chance that sports betting has to be stopped again. It's only going to be because of a Florida Supreme Court ruling. And I would expect by the end of next week, the Florida Supreme Court will rule on Wes Flagler's emergency motion to temporarily suspend the mobile sports betting provisions of state law. And if they deny that, then we're on another, deadline for the briefs to be filed on the merits of this petition. And that will probably be decided in the first quarter of 2024. So based on how I read the situation, I think for the remainder of this year, it's highly likely that there will be no change in the status quo. Retail sports betting will likely continue, as will online sports betting, because I think if the Florida Supreme Court rules in favor of Wes Flagler, I will be very surprised given the political dynamic of that court.
Daniel, we got no more than 30 seconds. All right. I know the Supreme Court only takes 2% of the appeals, but this is changing federal law, and it involves 36 other states in sports gambling. Don't you think they're going to take this case?
I do. I absolutely do. And Justice Kavanaugh, I think it gives some hope to those who believe that the Supreme Court will hear the case, because he said point blank in his opinion that in his view, this deeming of off-reservation wagers to somehow magically be on Indian land is a workaround and likely violates IGRA. You need 5 justices for a stay, but only 4 for a cert grant. And this does change federal law. It's in conflict with at least 10 federal court of appeals decisions. This is the only one that ever said that IGRA can apply to tribal gaming outside of Indian lands. And I think it's the perfect circuit split with some far-reaching repercussions downstream in these dozens of other states. And it's an important question of federal law that the U.S. Supreme Court has never definitively addressed. So I think it's the perfect vehicle for U.S. Supreme Court review.
Daniel, thanks so much for your time. Always appreciate your insight.
Safe travels.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Daniel Wallach.
For the day.
Conduct Detrimental is the great podcast. He is the legal expert for The Athletic and joining us here on Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening. Where else but the Florida Sports Network?
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps. Have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Mark, here's a crazy story for you. My brother last night in Nashville just ran into Zach Bryan.
Really?
In a back alley in Nashville. No one was around. I mean, he had his security, but there were no fans around. It was just, he was smoking a cigarette in a back alley. Miles ran into him. Took a picture with him, talked to him for like 5 minutes, and he was on his way.
Wow.
Crazy. Because the VMA or the CMAs,
CMAs,
the other night,
yeah.
so he was in town. A lot of them were in town. But
that's crazy.
Who?
Zach Bryan. He's a
right
huge country star.
Mm-hmm. And who talked to him?
My little brother. He lives.
Oh, that's cool.
In Nashville. He does music too, and like Zach Bryan's his biggest influence. So it was kind of crazy that just happened.
Did you see? I don't know if I don't know if I mentioned it to you because my son was talking to me about it. Did you see Billy Strings played Halloween at Van Andel?
I didn't see, but
he came because he came out and he came out as the Hulkster.
Did he really?
And he played the whole show dressed as the Hulkster at Van Andel.
That's pretty cool. But yeah, my brother was like, he's like, I hate that this happened this way. I mean, obviously but he's like, no one's gonna believe me. They're gonna think I was stalking him and that I was like, I saw that he was here on his Instagram story or something, and then I tracked him down. He's like, no, I literally just ran into him. Miles was walking home from his gig, so he had his guitar and his tip bucket. Ran into Zach Bryan.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
I heard it was a really cool Buffett tribute. I've not seen it. I'm gonna have to watch it on YouTube. I've seen a couple people that I trust post that.
Yeah, I didn't see any of it either. I heard Lainey Wilson killed it as well. She's cool.
Sharks may never lose again.
When it rains, it pours.
That's a problem. You got to get like 90 something points to make the playoffs. 2-9-1. That's tough to come back from.
Yeah.
You got 70 games left. You need 90 points, probably minimum.
Which means you need 40 wins, basically. Because you're going to lose shootout games and things of that. You know what I mean? It means you need about 40 wins out of the 7.
40, 25, and 5.
Right.
That's...
Hey, Mark, our Pistons open the NBA in-season tournament tonight, playing the Sixers.
Well, no, the in-season tournament started.
Yeah, well,
last
the
Friday.
Pistons haven't played their first one yet.
Oh,
it's the group stage. They haven't played their first group
and the
stage
regular
yet.
season games. I don't get it. I don't.
It is really ridiculous.
I'm so confused.
How'd you guys feel when Inter Miami was doing that whole?
I thought it was absurd that all those wins didn't count.
Yes.
They're playing other MLS teams and they don't count. Well, why are we playing?
But it was for a tournament.
Hey,
That's why I didn't realize these games counted, because most of the tournament games don't, and every other in the soccer world, they don't count.
Yeah. I actually think the NBA has it right. I think the game should count. You want to do some sort of in-season, whatever, spice it up, whatever. But I do think the game should count. You go on the court, it should count.
All right, here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes until Pat Kirwan joins us at the top of the hour to go through week 10 of the NFL. Wow. Man, and we are heading down the stretch of the college football season. We wait 200 plus days, and then this season sometimes just seems to fly by. I had a winning week last week, 4-3. I'm still below 500, however. Mark, another winning week. He's only had one non-winning week out of like the last 7. How many are you above 500 now?
Well,
like
I was
5?
trying to figure that out, but
I think you're plus 5.
That sounds right. But I just realized that last week's picks never made it to the website. So now I've got to go track down emails that were sent.
Oh, I got them somewhere. I mean, you know me and my yellow notepad. I mean, I got them somewhere.
Right.
I mean, I may find them 2 years from now in the backseat of my car, but I got them. My wife had to borrow my car yesterday. She shows up with a toothbrush and toothpaste. She goes, "This was in the back, making noise. What's this all about?" I go, "I probably went to the dentist, and they give you those little things. I probably just threw the bag in the back." She's like, "Why didn't you bring it in the house?" I go, "Come on."
I may have to brush my teeth after a McDonald's quarter pounder with cheese meal before I come home, so I can protect my breath from getting caught. What the hell do you think I have it in the car for?
Right. I mean, I got 4 tons of mints in my car too. I mean, I just don't eat any of them around you. Come on. So I'm ready to go. I'm going with 7, by the way. You with this boring, disciplined 5 games a week approach.
Well, we called it the Fantastic Five. We don't even bother with that anymore. We like the alliteration, but you don't follow rules, so it's our pick segment.
Yeah, the only way for me to follow the rules is if I start winning early. And once again,
No.
this year.
No, there's no way for you to start following the rules, because once you feel it, your problem is once you write the games down and you go in and all of a sudden there's 8 or 9 there, you can't cut.
No, I can't. Quite frankly, it's like going through a buffet line. And I know the plate's only so big, but I don't know what to tell you. I like most everything. So, I pile stuff on top of stuff. Food that's not necessarily supposed to touch each other. I layer it. I do. I prefer the one embarrassing plate to the 2 plates.
I have no problem with either. I can go up multiple times to the buffet. I can go up and just put
No. That's not what I said. I can go up. I could go up 5 times. You've seen it. Okay. But no. I mean, going through the buffet line with 2 plates.
Ooh.
Yes. Well, think about it. You either have to stack one, or you're like, well, let's put a normal plate, but the other half of this buffet, I like what's on that too. So you have another plate.
I need you to be in town when I'm actually a member of a country club. And when they have an Easter, Mother's Day brunch, I need to show up, not with my wife and my mother and my daughter, with you, with just you, and say, "Attack, big fella. Go get him."
Ready to go. I grab 2 plates. They hand you one. I go, "Can I have another?" And they look at you and go, "Trust me, I need it." All right, here we go. And then you fill the one plate up, and you're about half, 2/3 of the way through the buffet, and you're like, thank you. Then you just break out the other one. Here you go.
All right, which plate you starting with? The big full plate or the side one for the prime rib only?
No, big one. A big one. I got 5 college and 2 pro. So I'm starting big. I'm stacking this one. Last week I rode Wyoming to a Friday night win. They're playing this Friday night. I'm going the other way. They're at UNLV. UNLV is a better team. I've actually seen UNLV this year. All right. One of their 2 losses is at Michigan. All right. UNLV at home, only laying 5.5. Wyoming just played their biggest rival last week. This isn't going to seem as big to them, even though it's a better game in the standings. Give me UNLV, lay the 5.5. I am riding Michigan because I think that it's them against the world. I'm going right head-to-head with Lee Sterling. I said it early in the week. Okay, I'm riding Michigan. There's a part of me that hopes Tony Petitti comes out and announces whatever he's going to announce today. Give me Michigan, lay the 4. Some places it's 4.5. We went with 4 this morning. I'm good with 4. I'm laying the 4 at Penn State. Why is Tennessee favored over Missouri? I'd like to know that. They're pretty even teams. Missouri's got the better quarterback. I mean, that's not even up for debate. And Missouri's at home. Why is Missouri getting 2? Missouri doesn't get the CBS treatment very often. They're actually kind of excited about this. I think they needed us showing up after the loss to Georgia. Give me Missouri in 2, which is why, by the way, I like the Gators next week. All right, Missouri playing Georgia, Tennessee back-to-back. I don't know how much is left in the tank for the Gators, to be honest with you. Just saying, I think the Gators get them in a good spot. And playing in Missouri is going to be a lot easier than playing this week at Death Valley. You're going to show up at Columbia and go, is this an SEC game? Anyway, give me Missouri in the 2. Yeah, Oregon's going to score 50 against USC. We can all agree on that, right? So USC's got to score 40 on Oregon. I don't see that happening. Give me Oregon. I'm laying the big number. I'll lay 15 at home against USC. USC's got nothing to play for. Their season's over, baby. They'll show up for the UCLA game. That's about it. And can somebody explain to me why Kansas is only a 4-point favorite at home against Texas Tech? Texas Tech's 1-3 on the road. Kansas beat Oklahoma at home. The only time Kansas didn't look good this year was when they didn't have their quarterback and they played at Texas. And that game was a 6-point game midway through it. Give me Kansas and lay the 4 at home. And I can't believe I'm betting Kansas football. Man, is this a crazy year. All right, so that's my 5 for Saturday. Actually, one's on Friday. How come the Steelers are only a 3.5-point favorite at home against the Packers?
Because they can't score.
Yeah, but Green Bay's not good. And Green Bay's not good against normal defenses. How many points do we think Green Bay's going to score in Pittsburgh? Over, under 11. I'll take the under. I think if Green Bay gets to 13, they've had a hell of a day. Seriously. So Pittsburgh, even if Green Bay has the best game possible, they score 13 points. Pittsburgh's got to get to 17 against the Packers. Mark, you know Pickett is going to have 1 or 2 scoring drives in the fourth quarter. That's what he does. Listen, the Steelers are going to win. They're going to win by at least 4 at home. Give me the Steelers minus 3.5. It's my best bet of the day. It's my Seahawks against the Browns from a couple of weeks ago. Remember, they were laying 3.5 at home. They covered. They won by 4. And Arizona is getting Kyler Murray back.
Yes.
Do we think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
Not sure. It's why I stayed away from it.
Well, I don't think it's a great thing. I think it's an okay thing. But I don't think he's 100%. I don't know how much better Kyler Murray coming back from an ACL is than Josh Dobbs today. Not a month from now, but today. Meanwhile, Atlanta's lost 2 in a row. They really need this game. I mean, this is a BFD for the Falcons. They need a win to get to 5-5. They got a game coming up in a couple of weeks at home with the Saints. They got to stay close to New Orleans. Atlanta has to win and win by more than 2. Give me the Falcons on the road laying the 2. So there you go, Mark. And by the way, for the record, I'm playing 6 favorites. So there.
Well, I only made 5 picks, so that means I
right.
And I played 5 favorites, David.
Well, it's working for you.
I was the first one on this show that started riding the University of Michigan. I've been doing it all year long to great success.
Hurt you in September. Okay, they weren't laying the wood to people in September.
Well, and I wasn't betting them when they were playing the non-conference games. I started with the conference games, and they've been taking care of me ever since. And I am totally with your philosophy that it's us against the world. That's how the players have come out and said it. You want to make us the villain? Make us the villain. That's fine. They're all on the same page. They all know what's going on, from the university president down to the lowest student manager. They all think the world's picking on them. They're going to go into Penn State, which struggles offensively, and they're just bigger. They're better. They're the Philadelphia Eagles of college football. They're great on both lines of scrimmage.
I like that.
Thank you.
Give
me Michigan and lay the 4. I heard a rumor, and I don't know if it's true. I've been checking on it, and I can't find anything there, but Brock Bowers may come back this week. And I also asked one specific question of Bud Elliott. And Bud Elliott called Ole Miss frauds, if you listen to him on Wednesday. Sometimes I ask questions on Wednesday to prepare for Friday. That was one of those questions. I was looking for a little confirmation of what I believe to be true, and that's that the Dogs are going to take care of business on Saturday. Give me Georgia, and I'll lay the 11 against Ole Miss. I've already said it. Florida State is just clearly the better team than Miami. They have more talent. They're better coached. And Miami will play hard for a half, but when they're down, they will fall apart in the second half. Florida State takes advantage. The receivers catch a lot of balls in the second half. I think this one's going to be like 35-14. Give me the Noles.
Number is what, 14?
14. I really struggled with the slate on Sunday, and I don't love my picks, but I think Washington played hard last week. They're not going to play hard this week. I think it's a big game for Seattle. The number's pretty big, but I think Seattle takes care of business at home. 6.5 against Washington. Give me the Seahawks.
Ooh.
And I'm worried about my last pick because T. Higgins, after I wrote this down yesterday, T. Higgins is not playing with the hamstring. I don't know how much that's going to limit Cincinnati, but the number is 6.5. I think the defense for Cincinnati is what gets it done. C.J. Stroud has his first tough game. I'm going to throw a couple of picks. Joe Burrow is who he is, and Cincinnati takes care of Houston. I'll lay the 6.5 and take the Bengals.
So there you have it. 7 picks for me, 5 for Mark. Mark's been winning. I've been up and down. Got a losing record on the year. So Mark's picks again. The Wolverines laying the 4. We both agree on that. He's laying the points with Georgia, with Florida State. Got to admit, you're laying 2 big numbers in the NFL. 6.5 on Sunday is a lot of points. You got 2 home teams, though. So that's good. Wow, that's a lot of faith in Geno Smith and the Seahawks.
No pass rush for Washington anymore. They beat New England because New England's bad, David.
This just in, yes.
Man, that shows you just how bad the New England Patriots are. And I think this is a big spot for Seattle.
Boy, you think about the Commanders. They lost at home to Chicago. They lost to the Giants. I mean, think about where they could be, for goodness sakes, if they just took care of business in games that they should have taken care of business in. So there you go. Do me a favor. Ask your wife, the Steelers fan, whether or not she likes my back up the truck on the Steelers -3.5 this week. Packers are not good.
David, that's my favorite line. That is my favorite line of the whole slate.
Okay. Well,
I don't know if that terrifies you or if that gives you any more confidence, because what do I know? But
well, That's what we're all finding out, Trent. I mean, that's what this first month is for. We're all, not only the hosts, but the listeners. We're all finding out just how much you know. Okay, that's the beauty of the first month. It's called the honeymoon. Okay, and so this will be a learning thing for me and for our audience, whether or not Trent knows what he's talking about. I really like the Steelers. Look at their dominating performance. Or like, well, he's on the right show because he can't pick games either.
My whole life, it's just all I've known is death taxes and the Steelers at home, Mike Tomlin. They'll find a way. And I don't think the Packers are good.
That we can agree on. But the Steelers offense, I could see that game being 12-10, David.
I just need it to be 14-10.
I know. And maybe you get a late field goal that it's 15-10 and you get the cover. 5 field goals for the Steelers. It just, man, they're challenged offensively.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. In fact, Steelers or Iowa offensive. In fact, if they played each other.
They've been outgained in every game they've played this year.
And they're 5-3.
It's remarkable. Miller and Moulton. We will talk that and all things NFL with the one and only Pat Kirwan. He's in the On Deck Circle right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to make sure you're shopping with the best. And the best when it comes to GIA certified diamonds and diamond jewelry is not online. It's not in the malls. And it's not with any of the new pop-up jewelry stores trying to make a go of it here in Southwest Florida. The best place to buy diamonds is with my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District, who have made Southwest Florida their home for over 20 years now. The largest selection of GIA certified diamonds is with the Diamond District. The only place you'll find diamonds 8 to 10% over cost is with the Diamond District. America's top bridal designers have chosen the Diamond District to represent their engagement rings exclusively in Southwest Florida. Simply put, the best selection, experience, and best prices are with Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
and 34, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Pat.
Good morning, boys.
How are you?
I am doing well. Absolutely fantastic.
In Florida?
Going down right after the game on Sunday night. I had my wife's in Europe with a girlfriend, and my daughter, my oldest one, has 2 kids playing in Lake Placid this weekend. So they're up there. The older guy I got. So I said I'd stay with him I started yesterday. I'm with him till I go to work on Sunday. Yep. So she asked me about 3 months ago, can you watch him for 3 days? Yes, of course I can.
And you said, yeah, we'll go to Florida. Okay.
He can cut school again.
Yep.
He cuts school every week. He cuts school for hockey every week anyway. So
right. We'll go. We'll watch some hockey.
Yep.
I'll get some of the guys together. We'll drink.
Well, one of the reasons I said I'd do it was the Blades are not home this week.
Right.
And so I said, this works out perfect. I'll look like the good guy, but
right. I've really got nowhere to be.
Yeah. Yeah, so otherwise.
Clark, I have to be in the mood for the everything bagel. Okay. It depends if I'm okay with having like onion breath when I'm done. But yes, the everything bagel's outstanding. My favorite's pumpernickel, but I'm
It's
strange.
my favorite too. I always get pumpernickel.
I do too. My grandmother was the only one I ever knew who had pumpernickel bread. I loved it.
Yeah. I still get it. It's hard to find.
It is.
You go into the grocery store, there's one loaf of it. You're like, I don't know, when I take this, I don't know who I'm going to piss off who's coming here later, but it's the only one and it's out of here. Everything good?
Yeah. I'm
Mark's picks make me nervous because it's a strange week.
I had a hell of a time with the NFL, Pat. I'm looking at these games, and they're all low numbers, but I don't know who's going to win these games. This is a wild week.
Yep. I had a good week last week, but I looked at this one and I said, you know what? This is the one where I'm going to lose about 6 of these things. Have you ever seen this? You follow these spreads, you two guys. There are 5 games, the spread's under 40 on the over-under number.
Yeah.
I don't remember that before. And there's not one game over 50.
Nope. I think the Lions game's the highest one at like 48.
if you count last night's game, there are 9 games this week in which the spread is 3.5 or less.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, this is damn near pick a winner's week.
And you know when it's going to kill me? Games like Indy and New England. Those kind of games.
Well, like games like Tampa and Tennessee, 1-point spread. Who the hell's going to win that game? Who knows?
10 seconds.
Yeah.
Jets Raiders Sunday night, baby.
Just throw it out there is what you like to say.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the top of the 8 o'clock hour. It is the final hour of the week along the network. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits in Southwest Florida 1 hour from now. Pat Kirwan's kind enough to join us once again. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains. The show is weekdays 3 to 7 and Saturdays while games are being played from 2 to 5. He's then part of CBS's NFL Today show on Sunday, so you get the idea. He doesn't have a day off for a long time. He joins us courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, dozen locations in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. So was that a good game last night or just a close game?
Well, I'm a Tyson Bagent fan, so I don't expect him to have, ridiculously good numbers or anything, but I love the kid, and I just like the way he competes, and I keep wondering, now that he's gone 2-2, which is our rule about a backup. Do you have a backup that can go 2-2? And he just did. And so the question to you guys is, what's the pressure point for Justin Fields now? And they have a point of reference of someone else. And my suspicion is the players kind of like Bajan. We'll see what happens. What if Fields comes out and plays poorly for 2 or 3 weeks? You think they'll just keep plowing along and losing? Or they go back to the kid? That I don't think they're going to go back to him, but Jimmy covers those games, Jim Miller, and he
Pat, don't you
he loves
think
them.
that this is the last basically 4 to 6 weeks for Justin Fields to prove that he's the Bears quarterback going forward, and that if the time ever comes that they pull him, that's it. They're pulling him forever. They're not
Right.
just pulling him for the game or this season. I mean, he's got to, and I ask you, do you think Kyler Murray is auditioning for his future, or does his contract give him 2024 no matter what?
I think he has a contract that's going to lock him up for a year. That doesn't mean they can skip the quarterback in the draft. They can still take one. And a year from now, after they do it, they'll just play the kid. So that's a possibility. This other one, well, I'll ask you right now. Are they putting the option you're on him, David, on Fields?
No.
Of course not. We all know that. So why are you waiting? So the question becomes, will they bench him before the year's over to make themselves really feel like it's absolutely over?
Pat, why scoring down so much?
It's a great question. Defense is way ahead of offense on a lot of levels, which is amazing, considering all the rules that go the other way. We got way too many backup quarterbacks playing. And now here's another week. O'Connell, DeVito. Levis is going to play. Heineken's playing. Heineke, Dobbs is playing Minshew. This is every week. We're going to land up with ridiculous numbers of those guys playing all the time. And I also think that, and this I can't prove, I just feel this way, too many of these darn coaches got in bed with analytics. And they do a lot of things. They think they're going to score, and they land up not scoring by going for it all the time. So those are some of the things that are on my mind about scoring.
This is a little self-serving, but I don't know how many of you stayed till the very end of the Jets-Chargers, but there's a certain someone out there who agrees with Pat Kirwan about analytics. His name's Troy Aikman. And so there's less than 40 seconds to go, and the Jets are trying to put a meaningless touchdown on the board, and it's 4th and goal from the 6, and Troy turns to Joe and says, Joe, analytics says it's a go.
Any chance he gets, and me too, to go, what are you thinking here?
So anyway, I thought you would enjoy that. All right. Do you think, by the way, the Giants, Joe Shane, will look back and say, you know, when I was the number 2 in Buffalo, we had the guts after going 9-7 and making the playoffs to realize that this group we have here, we maxed out and we need to blow it up anyway. And they did, coming off their first playoff appearance in a very long time. And 2 years later, they had a franchise quarterback and they were back in the playoffs. Do you think, looking at the Giants, who went 9-7-1 last year, that Joe Shane did the exact opposite of what he and that organization did in Buffalo? The Giants thought, wow, we're a pretty good team and we can get better, when in fact, they were not a pretty good team. They wildly overachieved. That's why Dable won Coach of the Year. And the Giants actually, instead of giving Daniel Jones the money and making the moves they made, the Giants actually should have blown it up after last year.
Well, it takes guts to do it. I recall that Buffalo team didn't have a lot of young players. Do I think they regret some of the things they've done? Probably, but I regret even more that they put themselves in a position that DeVito has to play. Now, this should ensure that they're going to pick very high in the draft, and they're going to have a shot at a quarterback. But I think they're going to keep Jones around for a year because that contract's got some issues in it. A year from now, they can walk away fairly clean. The real question is, are they going to be patient with the coach? Their history says this guy will be gone, and that'll be a shame. I like Brian Dable, but the way this is going, they're going to. I'm sure when they said, do you want to extend Daniel Jones? He was all for it. And this all started from not being able to get the running back under contract. And then they switched gears because they have one franchise tag. Yeah, it's a mess. But how did they not have Matt Barkley up last week? How did they go into a game and play DeVito? And Barkley, who knows this offense inside out, is on the practice squad, and you don't activate him. So I have some short-term questions before I get to the long-term one, but I think they'll draft a quarterback. They're going to, what do you think they're going to be picking? Third, fourth, somewhere in there?
Well, I think after last night, they're now picking third. And I don't know if they're going to win another game.
Oh, I'm pretty sure with DeVito, they couldn't beat Rutgers.
All right, Pat, the Niners are healthy again. How much, I mean, that changes everything for Brock Purdy, but how big is this game in your estimation for the Niners? They go on the road. They're a favorite against Jacksonville. You know, Jacksonville, to me, they're just kind of sitting in the weeds, and people say they're a good team or not, but you've talked about San Francisco and Purdy for a while. I know Jim Miller has his thoughts, your co-host on Purdy's arm. This is to me, is a big spot for the 49ers.
Yeah, it's a real big spot for them, and I couldn't even imagine a 4-game losing streak. When you look at Purdy, is it all his fault? Some of the things that have gone on in the last couple of weeks for him, he kind of came back to earth a little bit in the last 3 games he's played. 3 touchdown passes, that's not enough. 6 turnovers, 6 sacks, and his sack ratio is 1 every 16. So I think people started to pressure him, and people were in his face, and that's not going away. It's the old adage: you start a fire, you got to put it out. I would expect Jacksonville, who's pretty good on defense, is going to come after him and get in his face. But I have a hard time picking against San Francisco, and close my eyes and go, they could go on a 4-game losing streak. If they lose this one, then we got real questions. If they do that, they're starting to think about handing the division to Seattle, who at this point doesn't deserve it.
Bigger threat, Lions in the NFC, Jags in the AFC.
Great question. I've taken a hard look at both of them. I like both of them. I think Detroit is, if I had to pick one of those two, I'd take Detroit. Just looking at them, because I'm getting ready to get, interested in how far they can go and what seed they're going to be. They're getting Ragnow, Jonah Jackson, and Montgomery back, right? So they're going to have a pretty nice looking roster. They have the best offensive line in football. Goff plays within himself, and he is underrated. And you start looking at, they call up 39 pass plays a game, and they should. They've got receivers, they're going to have a running game, and they've got a nice looking defense. Just breaking down their defense, we all know who Hutch is and what he's doing, but they also have 7 sacks from their linebackers. Aaron has done a nice job of scheming that defense up. So real close. It's a great question. Either answer would be okay in my mind, but I would take Detroit.
Do you just dismiss the Baltimore game? They were a little banged up, and then everybody's first time with the Ravens goes badly, because it's tough to look at Detroit and take them seriously after the Ravens beat up on them the way they did.
There's another question. I would have maybe answered that question in the affirmative last week, but after I saw Baltimore dismantle Seattle, basically the same way. Now I'm looking for Seattle to act like Detroit and bounce right back. But I think Baltimore, I love that argument. I had it on your show the other day. Philly's the best team. Do you guys think Philly's better than Baltimore?
Well, Philly's not healthy right now. If both teams are 100%, I do like Philadelphia more, slightly more.
And if they had to play today, who would you take?
I would take Baltimore.
Yeah, I would
Philly's
too.
really banged up.
Okay, well, you never know if they're all coming back or not. But my point is, when I said that on your show, that guy texted right in capital letters, "What about Philadelphia?" I took into account their issues, but I think Baltimore is extreme. They're starting to win games in a dominating fashion.
Well, we got a couple minutes till our first break here. The Lions are in Los Angeles to face the Chargers, and we all know the Chargers are better than their record. Detroit's a road favorite, by the way. So, they're getting their due, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
But, there's a big spot for both. The Chargers now just a game out of the wild card. They're coming on strong, and Detroit's 6-2. So who do you like?
Have you noticed, and you're on the road a lot, David, have you noticed how well the Detroit fans are traveling?
Oh, yes.
Now, they've been saving their money for 35, 40 years for this. I mean, airfares have gone up since the last time they all thought of going somewhere. But I think they'll be well attended in LA. They're following the team. They got the fever. Jimmy Miller lives in Detroit, so I hear it every day that way the fan base is. I think Detroit's going to go in there and take care of business. And what did they find out while the running back was out? That kid they drafted, the other running back, they've got really good players around there. So I like Detroit to take care of the Chargers. Chargers are always a game away from the playoffs. That's how they live. I'm not taking them at home.
Tough to believe in the Chargers. It really is. And sooner or later, they're going to, well, until they get a new coach, I don't know how we take them seriously on a weekly basis.
Analytics, baby. It is.
Oh, what if they beat Detroit, though?
Okay,
I'm just
well then,
saying. I think this is the game where if the Chargers win, then we have to stop making them a punchline for a while.
yes, you do. But which AFC North team are you taking out of the playoff picture?
Cleveland.
Ooh, you don't like defense as much as I thought, Mark.
Not as much as the two of you. And I am a sucker for the Chargers. It's them damn powder blue uniforms, Pat. There's something about them. I can't get the Chargers out of my brain.
You know
Miller
what?
and Moulton.
I
Pat
might fund the air ticket to send you out there to have a miserable afternoon.
Sounds like a plan. More with Pat next.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum.
The other thing about the Lions fan is that people from Michigan live everywhere because they all moved out of Michigan.
Yeah, it's like
Same thing with
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. It's not that they travel, it's that they're everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the truth.
Love the Lions takes, Pat.
Yeah, thank you. They're just,
You don't have to tell me twice.
they communicate with their head coach enough to know, one, he's crazy, and two, they believe in him,
Yeah.
and three, he fears nothing.
Yeah.
He's really, and he's really bright. He always looks like the meathead of all time. He kind of has a Gronk persona to him, but
Yeah, he does.
But
his first impression was something too.
Bite the kneecaps and all that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've sat in his office with him, and he kind of just. Sometimes I think it's totally manufactured. He knows who he wanted to paint the picture of who he was going to be like. So
yeah,
but he's no dope.
Here's my only question with the Lions. They're very solid offensively, very. But do they have big plays against good teams on offense? Like, they've got a number one receiver, but he's not. I think he's going to run by me a number one receiver. Like,
yeah, it's a possession.
When I watched them against the Raiders, Pat, they didn't really stretch the field much. And I'm thinking if they're playing Frisco or Philly, they got to get those safeties
Williams.
back.
It's Williams.
It's Williams. And I'm not a big fan of his until he grows up a little bit, but he's the one.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to catch the ball too. He dropped a walk-in touchdown against Baltimore. The game was over at that point, but that's one of those things where you can maybe try to get him involved a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, last year he caught one ball. It happened to be the first one they threw at him.
Oh, I was there, Pat. It was crazy. The place lit up because it was in the first quarter, first drive of the game, play action, and he was just.
And that was it for the year.
Yeah, I think he had 9 targets and 1 catch. That's not good.
But I'll go back to Pete Carroll on this. Pete says they don't have to be able to catch. If you think they can get behind you, you're going to cover them.
Right.
I'll never forget. I said one time I was doing the advance like in 1990 or so. I said, hey, the guy got 4.2 speed. It's all over the film, but he can't catch. So Pete says, what are you trying to tell us? I said, he can't catch. I wouldn't worry about him. He goes, the ball could get stuck in his face mask. We're covering him. You want to scare the crap out of a defensive coach?
Yep.
Show him a guy they get behind.
Yep. Can go over the top.
And he's the one.
Yeah, David, I don't know if they'll be able to stretch the field. That's a good point. But I do think they can get creative. And, because that Raiders game, even that they ran that trick play to St. Brown and Khalif Raymond was wide open in the end zone. He just didn't see him.
Well, you can't rely on tricking teams when you're playing good teams.
And also I'm thinking about, like, they're in the divisional round and they're going to play the Eagles or the Niners. They're not going to be able to maul them up front the way they maul 25 other teams. They're going to have to win one-on-one matchups downfield. And I will say, love the tight end.
Yeah,
love the tight end.
Yes, he's the man.
I also think the rookie running back is going to be running wheel routes soon. He can run all the receiver stuff.
It was interesting that back-to-back games where they gave him 20-plus carries back-to-back weeks.
Yeah. Yep. They were trying to figure out how much do we have here.
Yep.
And they got it. So would you be surprised if you saw him on the field with the big running back and him in the slot?
Well, they hinted at that when they drafted him. They said, we're going to give him like 12 carries and we're going to put him in the slot and no one in the league will be able to cover him.
I think it's coming.
Yeah, I expect to see that. I hope we see that as soon as Sunday.
And they have the offensive line to do whatever they want.
Well, getting the 2 guys on the O-line back is a big deal.
Yep.
You could argue Frank Ragnall's the best player on the team. Love that guy.
He is physical.
All right, 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Lion Show.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Remaining 10 minutes with Pat Kirwan. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains and CBS's NFL Today Show. His weekly appearances are brought to us courtesy of Pinchers. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Pat, this is the 4th time that the Browns and the Ravens are going to meet with Deshaun Watson on the Browns. And this is the first time that Watson and Lamar Jackson are actually going to face one another. Between suspensions and injuries, this will be the first time. The Browns probably without both their offensive tackles. These are the top 2 defenses in the league by total defense, yards given up. Does Cleveland have a puncher's chance to go into Baltimore and beat the Ravens?
I'm not taking them. Do I think they have a puncher's chance? Yeah, we're waiting for Deshaun to look like the guy who played in Houston. And he's on his way to being a better player. I'm fine with him, but I don't think in this situation, the way Lamar's operation is running, and Lamar's had a lot of success against Cleveland, 7-3. So he's never been intimidated by these guys. And then you look at the Baltimore defense. I don't think we name all 13 guys who have sacks. It might be up to 14 guys. But yeah, I would think Baltimore has home field counts there. I think home field in that city is worth a touchdown. Lamar and the uniqueness of his game right now, I think it's going to be hard for Cleveland to get it going. Now, will they sack him a couple times? Sure they will. But I don't think they have enough to beat these guys. We all forget that Chubb is gone. Like, we kind of like, well, yeah, Chubb's gone now. Well, that guy, if you had that guy, I might be going in a different direction, but you don't. And that just puts more pressure on the quarterbacks. Nope. Cleveland's defense, yeah, they're taking the ball away. You got to love them. 9 takeaways in 3 weeks, but I think there's enough of the Baltimore offense for them to win this one. And would I give this 6 points? There's a question. Yeah, I would.
What about Cincinnati and Houston? The Bengals obviously playing as well as they've played all year, but Houston coming off that big win, their offense very good. What Cincinnati's D got for CJ Stroud?
Well, they got ends that can contain rush, and they're good. They're not going to let them move around too well. And those. I love Lou Anarumo's defense, and it got right back on track. I like Cincinnati in this game. This is a team that's been to the big dance. They play in big games. They know they're having to keep going here. I like Houston. I think they're moving ahead, but I don't like them in a game like this. I think Stroud will have a nice game. He's always capable. He doesn't throw interceptions, but Burrow, I know T. Higgins isn't playing, so what? They've got a bunch of other guys they can catch. So I do like Cincinnati in this game. I wish they used Mixon a little bit more. That's where I'm going with these guys. I wish, just kind of like Kansas City, I wish Pacheco got the ball more. Get ready for the bad weather.
If ever there's a trap game for the Bengals, this is it. They just played the Niners and the Bills. And next Thursday night, they're in Baltimore. And then after that, they've got another AFC North game. I think it's the Steelers. This screams trap game for the Bengals. We'll see if they handle it. Hey, 2 teams with a winning record, Saints and Vikings in Minnesota. All right. Does the Josh Dobbs show continue?
No. It was a nice story. He came in. He just shows you why camp might not be necessary for guys. But I do like where the Saints are. I'm not a big Carr guy, but it's clear to me that they have really emphasized Taysom Hill, which I never liked when Breeze was there. We talked about this all the time. To me, everyone who saw Breeze not under center and Hill, they loved it on defense. But now you've got a quarterback in Carr that will not run. And you start looking at what they're doing. So here's the numbers that confirm to me New Orleans will do well. They're using Hill all the time now. And if you look at his numbers, New Orleans is 14-1 when Hill gets 9+ carries. And guess what? They've been giving him the ball 9+ times. You want to take it down to 7 carries? They're 18-1. So they have decided we need Hill because there's some limitations in Carr's game, and we're going to use them. And all of a sudden, you see, this is the right time to be using them. I like New Orleans with all their weapons, and I've always liked their defense. I know Minnesota's on a 4-game winning streak, but the Dobbs show is coming to an end.
Tampa Bay's hosting Tennessee. Will Levis getting the start for the Titans. Baker Mayfield played his best game as a Buccaneer last week, but they lost. What did Todd Bowles have to say about their performance? Because defensively, I mean, it's hard to look past that, Pat.
He was not happy. And he rarely shows emotions, but he was not happy when he talked to me. He was angry, as a matter of fact, and he said he was angry. So what's wrong with those guys? They're 0-4 in their last 4 games. That's a problem. But the defense really has only given up 18 points a game. So the defense will be better. Todd rarely yells, but I know he had one of those weeks with the players. I like Tampa Bay in this game. And it's because I think Levis is a rookie, and the more tape they get of him, the more ways they're going to figure out to deal with him. And Baker is not playing bad. I don't want to sound like a fan of Baker's, although I do find his competitiveness intriguing. It's really who is Derrick Henry anymore? If you don't see that guy walk on the field and have fear of what he's going to do to you like he did 3, 4, 5 years ago, you're really looking at a shell of himself. Now, can he squeeze out 100 if they just keep giving it to him? Yeah, but I don't think they will against Vita Vea and the boys.
Did you get into with Todd Bowles at all about, they're not blitzing like he had been blitzing in the past. And it's surprising to us because last week in particular, his secondary was as healthy as it had been all year. I get if you don't want to blitz and expose your backups in the back line, but he had his starters last week and he didn't blitz Stroud, the rookie, much. I mean, did you get into that at all? And don't you think that he does some self-scouting and says, what the hell am I doing? I got to blitz these rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah, they don't like to talk about to change their scheme, but I asked him a more generic question like, are you good with what you're doing? He said, well, we got to fix a lot of things. And, and what do we know about him? His instincts are pressure. He was raised to be a pressure guy. And most of us revert back. So I would expect him to get after this young quarterback.
Will the Steelers outgain an opponent this week?
No, why do that? They don't need to. They got a secret formula, Mark. You know that. They might by default. This is the Packers. And we know what's going on with those guys. They're having a hard time, although they're not bad on defense. And, just because of Pittsburgh's terrible offense, the defense might be. This is another one of those games. Would you take, I don't know, 17-14? 14,
you couldn't get me
10?
to play the over in this game. It's 38.5. I could see this game being 13-10.
I'm with you. I would take the under in this game, and I hate unders. And this is a nice low number. So, yeah, but I do think there's a couple things going on that I really like about Pickett. No, we don't talk about Pickett very much. 126 throws without an interception in a row. So when you think about that, when you play defense the way they play defense, and they've got Pickett to realize, just don't lose the game for us. Don't give them a short field. Be smart with the ball, and we'll play this, punch out game right to the end here. And in the fourth quarter, what do you know about Pittsburgh's defense? Do they come through almost every time? They've got a ridiculous record of pulling games out of the fire when they have to. So here it is, 8-0 in one-score games, and they've been outscored in all these. So I like Steelers in this game, not Green Bay.
All right, 10 seconds. Scale of 1 to 10. Level of concern you have for the Bills.
Playoffs still going to happen. So that part, winning the division, I don't know now. It's been a little sloppy. Boy, the Milano thing has been a bigger problem than I thought.
Yep. They needed to get Devin White from Tampa. They needed to pay the price. That's just my opinion.
You're the best GM not with a team. You know that?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I've yet to have a winning record, but man, I
don't have a losing record either.
But I'd be good in the interview.
Mark,
I'm like those colleges that have never played a football game. I'm walking around with that shirt that says undefeated since 1931.
Yeah, I hear you. Fellas, it's always good talking to you.
And he joins us Tuesdays and Fridays here on Miller and Moulton. And Miller and Moulton will go through the games next.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What are you laughing at?
Texter, I just bet on a Serbian basketball game. What a life.
Remember when quarantine happened and the only thing to bet on was Korean baseball?
And people were all over it.
It was awesome because it was also happening at like 2 a.m.
Yeah, we were getting the ends of those games when we were coming into the show. That they were.
Tell you what, I could listen to Pat Kirwan talk about the NFL for hours.
This is great. A bunch of NFL guys talking about the Michigan situation. That's.
Yeah, give it up, guys.
No, it's. And Michigan courts are closed today.
I saw.
But they still think they can get the injunction. They still think, I read this morning that they still believe they can get a judge. Like, you don't think the University of Michigan, half these judges in the state of Michigan probably went to the University of Michigan. I mean, there's three law schools. Michigan State took over Cooley, so State has a law school, whatever. It's
cool.
It's Cooley Law School.
Yeah.
You got Wayne State's got a law school.
Yep.
In Michigan.
Yep. It's Michigan. That's all it is.
So
really.
You don't think they can get a judge?
Well, I
don't mean you, but I mean, come on.
I think they could, yes, but it's a double-edged sword because it also just feeds into their whole.
If they suspend him, I want Michigan to get the injunction. I want him coaching. I want chaos.
Well, we'll see. I don't think anything's going to happen. I'm with you. Yeah, KW, I saw the CEO of the Vegas Sphere step down. Kind of a weird thing going on there. Apparently they lost tons of money. But
shocking.
They're going to make that back though, right? Look at that thing. It's only been intact for a few months.
They're losing money when it's intact.
That's just the early return though. The concept of this thing is so
I agree
out there that I think, they'll start doing concerts in there. They'll make their money back, I think. I don't know.
David's just hoping they lose enough money that Dolan has to
sell the Knicks. Won't care. He doesn't get involved with the Rangers, but the reason players don't want to play in New York is James Dolan. So, man, if he could sell the Knicks, that'd be awesome.
David, do you have a favorite Knicks player from growing up?
Well,
because I love the Knicks history, their franchise. Said no one ever, but I said it.
It's funny. It was like 2 glorious years till he blew out his knee. But
Bernard King
was.
He was so good.
Effing good.
That game that he beat the Pistons when the Pistons were starting to come and he scored whatever.
84. He single-handedly beat the Pistons in a best-of-5.
Man. And that was one, I was of the age where I could hate a guy for their team where I couldn't hate him. He was so good that you just, even as a young kid, you just tipped your cap and went, man.
That was for me.
And then after single-handedly beating the Pistons in a best-of-5, great games. Game 5 in Detroit. He takes the 84 Celtics to 7 by himself, wins all 3 home games, and they were all close. They were all like decided by 5 points or less. The Celtics beat the Knicks by 15 plus points in all 4 games at the Boston Garden. And Bernard carried them, out-dueled Bird, Parrish, and McHale 3 times in a row at the Garden to force it to 7.
Wasn't Bernard King in the Converse weapon commercials with Magic Larry?
Yeah, well, there's the Converse ad, the famous magazine ad of Converse, and Bernard King's like one of the 6 guys in it.
That's awesome. Love it.
Bernard King in 1984 was the best damn player I had ever seen on the Knicks.
All right, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes until the top of the hour, 16 until we're done. Our final segment along the network. Had a good, fun week. Hope you've been around for much of it. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits for our Southwest Florida audience.
So, as David has mentioned throughout the many years we've done this show together, he has a collection of legal pads with the history of this show somewhere in a filing cabinet.
Yes.
In DeLand, Florida. But I always keep track of our picks against the number, and then we get them up on the website. And David does as well. But the NFL picks, I've been kind of doing myself. I've got this notepad I bring in, I write down and just keep track because we don't really keep our season records. We just kind of see who gets the other guy on a week-to-week basis. And usually during this segment, during that commercial break, David, I write down all the NFL games of the week and I make my picks. I just kind of write them down so I know what I'm picking before you make yours. I was able to write down of the 13 games, 6 picks. Like, I have so many questions about this week's NFL slate. I think it is an extremely difficult week just to pick winners, let alone get involved in the number.
Now, we had a week similar to this last week, but Mark, specifically, if you're just going by point spread, if you include last night when the Bears were a 3.5-point favorite, 9 of the games this week are 3.5 points or less. 9 of the games.
So let's get after it.
And I think we have 14 games for the record this week.
Right, with last night's. Right. So Tennessee and Tampa Bay, we start out with the Bucs. They're at home against Tennessee. The number's 1 for what it's worth. This is one that I can't get a feeling on. I think Tampa's going to win. I love the way that Baker played last week. I have to expect the defense to play much better than it did a week ago. So I'm taking the Bucs, but I'm not that sure about it, David.
Well, how can you be sure? I mean, they're both 3-5 teams. You can't be sure about either team, and Tampa's lost 4 in a row. Yeah.
Exactly.
The Titans haven't won a road game in almost a year. Now, then again, Ritter in Atlanta hadn't won a road game either. He came in and they outplayed Tampa that day by much more than the final score, and Ritter gets benched 2 weeks later. So it shows just how much Tampa's A, struggling, and B, how playing at home is not that big of an advantage. Mark, for this week, I'm glad that Tampa lost the way they did. I think that they embarrassed themselves on the defensive side of the ball last week. And they're a proud group. They've got some good players on that side, and they embarrassed themselves. And they know it. And they cost the team a game. And that hasn't happened very often. It hadn't happened this year. But they blew the game. And I think Will Levis will pay a price this week because of it. And I think Todd Bowles is going to blitz over half the time. I'm going to take Tampa.
San Francisco at Jacksonville might be the best game on the schedule this week.
You mean not the Giants and the Cowboys?
No, I mean, it's close. Jacksonville still really looking for that signature win. I guess Buffalo could be. But because Buffalo has been struggling, people aren't talking about Jacksonville's win over Buffalo being a big deal. They will after this week. San Francisco loses their fourth in a row because Trevor Lawrence gets it done. The offense shows up. Give me the Jags in a close one.
Before the injuries, the Niners were the best team in the league, right?
Yep.
The Eagles were undefeated. The Niners were undefeated. And hell, those teams are going to be undefeated when they played each other in December. They were so good. And San Francisco was beating people so badly, we thought it was like Nebraska in the late 80s and early 90s in the Big Eight. What they were doing to NFL teams. Remember what they did to the Cowboys? How long ago does that seem? McCaffrey versus ATN. Which multidimensional back's going to be bigger? Jacksonville with the edge at quarterback. Mark, does Purdy keep turning the ball over? And do the Niners keep not getting sacks? See, this has to be the game where Bosa and company take advantage of the questionable tackles that Jacksonville has. I like Jacksonville as a team. Everybody knows that. I picked them to be the 1 seed. But I didn't think San Francisco was going to show up at this game with a 3-game losing streak. I thought they might show up 7-1 instead of 5-3. I'm going to take the Niners because the Niners coming off a bye week, getting healthy. Debo will play. Trent Williams will play. These guys, this group hasn't lost a game all year. So let's go.
Indianapolis at New England. It's a reason to get up Sunday morning and watch bad football. If you watched bad football last night, you'll watch bad football Sunday morning. David, I have no idea who to. I mean, this is. Do I have a quarter in my pocket? Because I think I'd be better off flipping it than trying to pick this game. But I'm going to take New England simply because Belichick was asked about getting fired.
The guy coaching against him this week was asked about Belichick. And if you beat him, you could lead to the end of his coaching career. And Steichen's like, yeah, he's the best coach of all time. I find that laughable.
So I'm going to take New England because of all the doubters of the Patriots right now. And they should be. They're not a good team, but neither are the Colts. So I'll take New England.
So the Colts have never won overseas. They've only played once. The Patriots have never lost overseas. They played all those games and had Tom Brady at quarterback. So, but, that Mark, I could just, a trend, I could go with the stats. I'm going to ask you a very serious question. Do you think the players in New England care about Belichick enough to play for his job? Because they've heard it too. I mean, it's been spoken out loud. It's been in the press. They've read it that if they lose, he will no longer be the coach. Are we sure they want him to be the coach?
Boy, David, it's a terrific question. I wouldn't want to be the guy that got Bill Belichick fired.
I mean, who has the better quarterback in this game? Mac Jones or Minshew? I do think Jonathan Taylor's back in game shape. He's looking like Jonathan Taylor again. Looks healthy. Looks the best he has in 2 years. I'm going to take the Colts. And if they win, I do think he'll be fired during the bye week. And I think Gerard Mayo will finish out the season.
David already took Pittsburgh against the number. I agree with him. I think Pittsburgh will win the game. It's going to be a sloppy under 14-10, 17-14, something like that. But we both think Pittsburgh gets the win. New Orleans at Minnesota. There's no way the Vikings are winning another game. This is just law of averages here.
Really?
They're not winning this football game.
Really?
Really?
Okay. All right. I think Minnesota's head coach is far superior to New Orleans head coach, by the way. If that means anything on game day, and I think it does in a close game. I know New Orleans should win this game. I do. But are we really ready to trust the Saints? I mean, aren't the Saints, without Drew Brees and Sean Payton, aren't the Saints the Chargers? Even last year, remember? I mean, if they had the 2-score lead in Tampa. They win that game, they're going to win the South. For goodness sakes. What'd they do? They choked. They had Jacksonville coming in on a short week. Jags were all banged up. Trevor Lawrence was 70% at best. What'd they do, Mark? They lost. Are we sure? They had Tampa Bay week 3 coming in. Week 4. After Tampa had just gotten whacked by Philly. I'm going to take the Vikings. I don't have faith in the Saints. I do think they're the best roster in the division. I do. I don't. They got to prove it to me, quite frankly. They beat the Colts. They beat the Bears. Okay. They've proven they can beat bad teams. Minnesota's a decent team. Just start beating the decent teams. I'll believe in you.
Houston at Cincinnati. I already took Cincinnati and laid the point, so I'm obviously taking them outright. Who you got in this one, David?
Oh, I like Cincinnati. The 6.5 was a touch too high for me, but yeah. And I do think they will force a turnover or two from CJ Stroud. I do. Listen, Houston's defense concerns me. DeRico Ryans, and the thought was that offense with the rookie quarterback and all the injuries on the offensive line. Yeah, I like Cincinnati. I am very worried early. I might take the Texans in the first half. I'm worried this is a trap game. I'll say it again. They played the Niners and the Bills. Now they play the Texans. Then they're going to play 2 division games, the Ravens and I think the Steelers. Okay, I'm very worried this is a trap game, and I think it may be a trap game in the first half.
All right, we still got a bunch of games to get to and not a lot of time, so we got to kind of move this along. Cleveland at Baltimore. I'll take Baltimore at home. I think they're the better team. They're might be playing the best in the NFL right now. I'll take them against Cleveland.
Lamar should be talked about for MVP. The Browns are going to be without their 2 starting tackles. Baltimore.
Boy, this is a tough one for me. Detroit against the LA Chargers. You know my love of the Chargers, but I think the Lions go on the road and get it done.
Well, they're the more solid team. And I picked them to be the 1 seed. Give me Detroit.
Atlanta and Arizona. You already took Atlanta against the number. I'm going to agree with you just because I don't think Kyler Murray coming back helps them all that much.
It'll help them a little, but not enough. I mean, come on. They're 1-8 for a reason. It's the worst roster in the league.
You give Washington any shot against Seattle? I took Seattle and laid the points.
No, I definitely do. Washington's been scoring points, and Geno Smith is looking like the journeyman quarterback he was before last year, quite frankly. He's been sketchy. All right. And I think there'll be points in this game. I think this will be 30-24, 30-27. I thought about taking the Commanders in the points, to be honest.
Taking Seattle for the win, though?
Seattle for the win.
We're both taking Dallas, obviously. And then Sunday night, the Jets and Las Vegas. If nationally televised football wasn't enough for you on Thursday night or Sunday morning, we give you the Jets and Las Vegas.
How in the world are they going to block Max Crosby?
How in the world are they going to score against the Jets?
What's the over-under? I think the Jets are the best defense in the league. I know others say Cleveland, Baltimore, Pittsburgh. I think it's the Jets. I really do. And this is a rookie quarterback, and they've been embarrassing, terrific quarterbacks. So I'm going to take the Jets because I think they're going to force more turnovers. Look at what the Jets defense has done against the quarterbacks they've faced this year. And they have faced basically the best the league has to offer. And now they're going to be facing Aiden O'Connell.
Zach Wilson still playing quarterback for the Jets?
I know, but they may not let him throw this week. He may just hand the ball off only.
I'm going to take Vegas. Final score, 8-7.
Is this our Iowa-Rutgers game only on Sunday?
It is. 36.5 is the over-under.
Oh,
they are
man.
telling us we are going to get a 19-18 game.
No way. No way.
Think about that.
Unless there's, a bunch of defensive scores. Jets have a punt return for a touchdown this year. They gave up a punt return for a touchdown. That's the only way we sniff a team getting to 20 in this game. Come on.
Along the network, that is the end of our radio week. We thank you so much for listening. We'll be back again Monday morning. In the 239, we do a little thing called the Diamond District Bonus Hour. That is next, right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to make sure you're shopping with the best. And the best when it comes to GIA certified diamonds and diamond jewelry is not online. It's not in the malls. And it's not with any of the new pop-up jewelry stores trying to make a go of it here in Southwest Florida. The best place to buy diamonds is with my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District, who have made Southwest Florida their home for over 20 years now. The largest selection of GIA certified diamonds is with the Diamond District. The only place you'll find diamonds 8 to 10% over cost is with the Diamond District. America's top bridal designers have chosen the Diamond District to represent their engagement rings exclusively in Southwest Florida. Simply put, the best selection, experience, and best prices are with Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail
The
East.
law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again,
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What was Greg and Tiburon referring to?
I have no idea.
Hey, Greg. Were you
Talking
answering?
about that's what Tom Brady's going to do.
No. I'll be surprised if he does the broadcasting thing.
All right, let's go Bengals this week. That's all I know. I need the Bengals to win.
I would have played the Steelers. Well, I mean, the Cowboys are the obvious, but I'm guessing we've already played them.
I already played them.
You know, the Knowles have won 15 in a row.
Yes. Who was it? Oh God, Buck told me his name. I can't think of his name. Guy yesterday, the guy that hit. The guy had hit. I can't think of the golfer's name. He had hit all the fairways in Tigers tournament. He hit the fairway at the Shriners on the 17th, and I think it was and then he hit the first 15 fairways on Thursday before he finally, there's only 14, so he hit the first 12 fairways and then finally missed a fairway. It set the record for most consecutive fairways hit in a row.
Wow.
Think about that. To do all 4 rounds, it's 56. He had 57 coming into it. It was like 60-some straight fairways. Think about that.
That's pretty impressive. It's impressive
I'm
just to
happy
do.
when I hit 3 in a row.
It's impressive just even for a pro to hit all of them in a round.
Right.
Right.
I mean, I don't ever recall a time of hitting all the fairways. Played a lot of golf.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he called him out. I think he just disagreed with him. Deadstruck. Also, I think the quote was taken without the context that it was said in, and it was relayed to them. The Post is kind of targeting Troy. I'll be honest with you. I think this goes back to it didn't end well with him and Fox, and the Murdochs own the Post. I think they have it out for Troy. He's gotten nothing but bad press in the New York Post for 6-7 months. Meanwhile, it ended fine with Joe. Joe gets great press. When they went after Troy's girlfriend, that's when you knew, with a completely false story, but a false headline. The story actually, you read it and you went, actually, she was wronged here. But I actually think that this is targeted.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour, our final hour of the week on a Football Friday.
Football Friday.
We got Knowles and Canes. And does anybody think the Canes have a shot? Remember, this was the game 2 years ago that turned things around for Mike Norvell and the Knowles. Things were not going well. And they beat Miami, and they were not supposed to. Even though Miami, things weren't going well either. They're about to replace their coach, but Miami was favored, and the Knowles won. And that was what Florida State needed heading into the offseason. And that's what their quarterback needed. He said it changed my life, he said 2 years ago, the win over Miami. Gave me confidence that I didn't have. Changed my life. Mark, how many games in a row have the Noles won?
Be 15.
Now, there's one team, I think, right, with a longer winning streak, Georgia?
That would be correct.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Think about the games Florida State's playing here in the next month. They're playing the Canes with pressure situation for them. They're playing the Gators. We're thinking they're going to be 11-0 playing that game. This is like old times going into the Swamp final Saturday in November. Can't lose or else it's going to cost you a chance to play for the national championship. I mean, this is like Bobby and the boys. This is the 90s. And then if they get through that, they got to win the ACC championship game with all the pressure on them.
And there is no margin for error. We cannot have, there is no way, no scenario that you can give me this late in the season that Florida State with a loss gets in the playoff. It's not going to happen.
So they got 4 in a row they got to win here. And 3 of them are big. The Canes, the Gators, and the ACC championship game. And you know when you're walking out on the field, yeah, it's a rivalry. It's a playoff game, though. I mean, that's what it feels. It's a playoff game for you anyway. So they haven't, none of these guys have played games like this before. Mike Norvell hasn't coached in games like this before.
And now they're hearing it everywhere. Now when they walk around Tallahassee, they're being told how good they are. Oh, you're going to go kill Miami this week. You're a 15-point favorite against the Canes this week.
And these are 2 bitter rivalry games. One with respect, one without it. But both bitter. Just how good are they? I mean, they should beat the Canes by 3 touchdowns. They really should. They should be 38-17. They should. They're better. They're better. There's not one area where Miami's as good as Florida State. Even Miami's strength isn't as good as Florida State's strength. Florida State should win.
Convincingly.
But what? Florida State's had some games this year. I mean, how many times has it been late third quarter? And the Noles, we look up, they're losing. Or they're only winning by 3. Hell, just last week at Pitt. Duke at home. Duke's inside the 5 with a 3-point lead with under 5 minutes to go in the third quarter.
But that's part of what's impressed me the most about Florida State this year is that they just keep getting better as the game goes on.
Yeah, they do.
That's a sign of a really good team to me. They don't let up. Physically, they're strong enough to get through 4 quarters. They're deep enough now, David, that when the fourth quarter comes around, they seem to have the better legs, if you will, than their opponent. The push can come late in the game, and they can still run it late in the game if they want to.
They've been terrific in the fourth quarter this year. It goes back to that second half in the opener against LSU. You take a look at the Noles in the fourth quarter. They're the fighter who's just won the championship rounds. There have been a lot of fights that they've been in that through 9 rounds. So you could judge it 5-4, and then the champ just takes over. And that's what Florida State has done this year.
And they hit you with body blows late, to use your boxing reference. They can bludgeon other teams, David. They're physically strong.
But they're playing pressure games now, and the pressure's only on one side of the street, theirs. Florida State controls whether or not they're going to make the playoff. Do you realize where this program was 2 years ago? And that's what Canes and Gator fan right now is just going, is that possible for us?
And that's why I think right now, Canes and Gator fan driving around listening to us is getting angry. Not at us, but because of us.
But I wonder, can they see the hope, though? Remember, the Noles weren't winning this game 2 years ago. There wasn't a Noles fan who who saw this. Not one. Not Edgar from Palatka. And if you don't know that story, he called into the Bobby Bowden coach's show, and the Noles had just suffered a bad loss, and they fell to like 1-2 on the season, and he called in and professed his undying love for Bobby and his family. Okay, and you listen, you are going to go out to BYU, and you're going to stomp them Cougars.
Win
Okay,
by
you
6
got
touchdowns.
me 6 touchdowns. You got me, Coach. Okay, and God bless you, Coach, and your family, and okay, I'll talk to you soon. And sure enough, if the Noles didn't, and Bobby Bowden said, from Edgar's mouth to God's ears, and if Florida State didn't go out there and pound BYU.
Gator fan in the Twitch chat room. We're talking this way about the Noles. Just says it makes me want to vomit.
Okay, but do you think it could be you 2 years from now? See, that's the thing. Yeah, you're not in a good place now. Kane's not in a good place now. But the key is, where do you think you're going to be in November of 25? That's why you went and got Mario and gave him all the money. That's why you went and got Napier and you let him hire 411 people. It's for where you're going to be in the fall of 25. Because trust me, no one thought the Noles were going to be where they are in the fall of 23, in the fall of 21, including the Noles. It's got to start somewhere.
And I love Gator fan that's just ripping the ACC right now and how bad of a conference is, because the juggernaut outside of Georgia, that's the SEC East that Florida's been playing in. I know those tough games against Kentucky and South Carolina and Missouri.
You're not getting a pass from Mark Miller today.
Well, and I do, we've been saying it. Hey, we've got a lot of weaknesses as a show. One of our strengths, and I think we're better at this than most every national show, nobody looks ahead better than us. All right. We try to let you know, hey, don't think about today. Let's talk about tomorrow. We've been saying since the spring, Gator fan, it's going to be worse in 24. Can we go through the schedules? Trust me, as tough as this year's schedule is, it'll seem moderate to 2024. Okay. And so that's why it's difficult, I think, to see, oh man, are you sure we can do this? Yeah, you can. Think about it, Gator fan. You got a 5-star quarterback coming in. If you keep Napier, he'll stay. Mertz will come back. So you'll be set at the quarterback position. He's recruiting really well at the line of scrimmage. High school kids, granted, what will they need? They'll need 2 years. The one area he hasn't hit on yet, he hasn't hit on the portal. The linemen he brought in, outside of one guy on defense, quite frankly, they weren't that good this year. But his best receiver was from the portal. His quarterback's from the portal. He's been mixed, but he needs to hit in the portal. Where's Mario hitting? Mario's hitting everywhere but Saturdays. And at what point does that start to pay dividends? Right, Mark? I mean, at some point, if you just bring in enough talent, if you can get out of its way, you should start winning a bunch of games.
There's no question. And by all accounts, they're both doing the right thing from a recruiting standpoint. You and I both know we'd be talking a lot differently of Miami if they just knelt the damn ball.
Oh, I do think Van Dyke's hurt. And it's another reason why, their best isn't their best right now. I mean, they would have been much better off playing Florida State a month ago than playing them when they're playing them now. That's a bad break for Miami. They don't have the depth yet. Remember, Florida State 2 years ago didn't have the depth. 2-3 years ago, we took Florida State. That was the worst offensive line in Power 5 football. Think about where they are now. I mean, it might be the strength. I mean, well, it depends. The quarterback's terrific. The wide receivers are terrific. But that offensive line's terrific.
And it went from being lose one guy and the line can't block to having unbelievable depth.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
it goes back to what you said. They hit on the portal on that, David.
yes. Yeah. Mike Norvell has been aces in the portal. And this is just a fact of life. Okay. You're Georgia. Every guy walking in the door is seemingly a 5-star kid. You don't have to hit the portal hard. Nick doesn't have to hit the portal hard. He needs 2, 3, 4 guys. I need a corner. Go find me a corner. I need a running back. Go find me a running back. Okay. I need 4 guys. Okay, we can get you that, coach. Gators, they need 15. Canes, they need 8 to 10.
And they've got to hit on 75% of them.
Right. But if they do, you're Mike Norvell and the Knowles. You are. In theory, the Gators are going to have a quarterback going forward here for the next few years. 1 more year of Mertz, 2, 3 years of the 5-star kid. I mean, in theory, with the quarterback play you've had this year, you're going to have for the next 4+ years. Miami's got kids lined up.
And Florida's starting to get weapons.
Yeah.
This Wilson kid's good. I mean, they're starting to get a couple. They're starting to get some talent that can change games.
Right now, I'm actually more worried about the Gators defensively than I am offensively. You look at the points they've scored offensively lately. Trust me, the offense isn't the reason they're losing these games. Defense, special teams, and coaching is the reason they're losing these games. So here we are, 2 years fast forward. What the Knowles have done in those 2 years. Okay, Canes and Gators. You can do it too.
Fast forward, what conference are Florida State and Miami playing in?
I think it could be their final years in the ACC.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to make sure you're shopping with the best. And the best when it comes to GIA certified diamonds and diamond jewelry is not online. It's not in the malls. And it's not with any of the new pop-up jewelry stores trying to make a go of it here in Southwest Florida. The best place to buy diamonds is with my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District, who have made Southwest Florida their home for over 20 years now. The largest selection of GIA certified diamonds is with the Diamond District. The only place you'll find diamonds 8 to 10% over cost is with the Diamond District. America's top bridal designers have chosen the Diamond District to represent their engagement rings exclusively in Southwest Florida. Simply put, the best selection, experience, and best prices are with Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
David, they've got the Super 70 Sports. It's Royce reposted it. You might see it, but it's got a Giants player. Got to be 60s. Looks like they're at Yankee Stadium. It's not only is this guy using an actual fire to stay warm on the sideline, he is also actively on fire. Now it's illegal to tackle people. Literally, his jacket has caught flames, and he is standing over a bucket that's on fire to try to warm his hands up. That's old school football right there. Only thing better is if he'd had a dart in his mouth. So Heather Dinich is saying that they're expecting the Big Ten to respond early this afternoon.
I got to admit, I don't like that. If the Big Ten had done it yesterday, I would have been fine. I don't think they should respond on a Friday. We can do this next.
Yeah.
I think it's wrong to respond today. Did you see Ryan McGee, the title to his column?
No.
Vader, Thanos, the Wicked Witch of the West, and the Wolverines. Dear Michigan, embrace being the villain. It's more fun for everyone that way.
It really is.
I love Ryan McGee. I think he's great.
Dez doing a lot of talking this morning.
Oh, he is, huh?
They've had him out the second time he's been on Get Up already.
Oh, well, then he knows that it's hitting the fan today then.
Yeah.
He's mad as hell, and he's not going to take it anymore.
Exactly.
Desmond Howard?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Most he's been on camera talking about this Michigan thing in a month.
Ooh.
You know you can get that TV to work there if you want to.
Oh, yeah. I just like to limit my distractions.
All right, fair enough. Good deal.
You know, maybe when I get a little more, I'm pretty comfortable doing everything now, but yeah. It was like for the week that Felipe was training me, and he and I would just talk the entire time in here, and then he'd be like, "Oh, like shoot, we're going to break." Just talking the whole time about random NBA stuff.
So are you big NBA too? More than NHL. So you're more NBA than NHL?
Way more. Yeah.
Well, it's because you love college. Yeah, college hoops started you. So
yeah, college hoops and the NBA for me are 1A and 1B.
Oh, really? More than the NFL?
I mean, the Lions are my number one. I guess, like, if that makes sense. But as a league, I follow the NBA and college hoops more than the NFL. If that makes sense.
No, it makes sense.
Absolutely love Tigers baseball, but I can't get into like the whole MLB.
Yeah, it's hard.
Did you see the news yesterday? The Tigers hired Jason Benetti.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a big hire.
Yep. I don't think he'll be here long because I think pretty soon he'll take a national.
Well, he's got a national gig with Fox. He left his hometown of Chicago. 8 years doing the White Sox for this job. In the industry freaked out yesterday when they heard the news.
Really?
But he's terrific. And he's got CP and he's fought through it and he's funny and Tigers fans will love him. Now they need an analyst. Their analysts are terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah, they're just going to overhaul the.
I hope so, but they need to, find somebody.
Yeah, he's going to do like 127 games.
Yeah,
because he's got.
Yeah.
Well, and Dan Dickerson's stepping in for the other ones for TV.
Yeah,
for the ones
the radio guys getting the TV for the rest.
And he is phenomenal. Dan Dickerson is too. So hopefully the good vibes can translate to the diamond. I hope so.
They should be better next year.
Should be. They came on strong at the end of this year.
But they lost that.
They lost that pitcher.
That deal of that is.
Here we go.
That's inexcusable.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. A little over 15 minutes away from the good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Big today was the day when. Some big things happened on this day in history. And by
God,
the way,
that makes me nervous when he puts so much pressure on me to make sure I have them all.
Well, I checked to make sure you had the one. So, that was the one that I felt you had to have. So, and you've got it. So you're good. You're good. Not going to catch any grief from me. By the way, even though today is not November 11th, it's the 10th, since the 11th on a Saturday, Veterans Day being observed in many places today. And of course, and there is nothing that we can say that is ever good enough. worthy enough of all of you who have given what you've given. And we're beyond thankful and grateful. And I hope for this moment that's enough. It's not.
Never is.
We wish we could do more. But thank you. So that's coming up in about 15 or so minutes.
But because Veterans Day is being observed in many places today, it's relevant in the sports world. Because the story out right now is about the University of Michigan, and that the Big Ten is going to rule on whatever it is they're going to do to Michigan early this afternoon. One of those things that they could do is suspend one Jim Harbaugh. Michigan has already said that they're suing everybody if that happens.
Right.
And they're going to try to get a temporary restraining order.
An injunction, something.
Something. To, if Harbaugh were suspended, so that he could coach against Penn State. The courts in the state of Michigan are all closed today.
However, where would jurisdiction have to be? The Big Ten offices are in Chicago, aren't they?
They're in Chicago, but from one of the things that I read early this morning, David, is that even though courts are closed in Michigan, Michigan feels pretty strongly that they can get a judge still in a court today.
Mark, is this going to be the Devils and Koharski?
Yes, I want it so bad.
For those that don't know, late 80s, Devils, oh boy, who the Bruins, right? Devils, Bruins, 88 conference finals. After a Game 3 loss at home, Jim Schoenfeld, the coach of the Devils, gets into a confrontation with Don Koharski. Okay.
Referee Koharski.
Koharski claims, and this is they're off ice, like making their way to their respective locker rooms, and they are screaming at one another, nose to nose. Earl Weaver, Lou Piniella, and an umpire. And Koharski falls down and claims that Schoenfeld pushed him. And Schoenfeld said, I didn't push you. You lost your balance, you fat pig. Have another donut. And Channel 7, the ABC affiliate in New York, is the only one. Their camera's right there. They got the whole damn thing. The NHL suspends Schoenfeld for Game 4. The Devils, on a Sunday, get a judge at like 5:30 to issue a temporary injunction before the 7 o'clock Game 4 of the conference finals. So Schoenfeld's behind the bench. The officials are so irate, they don't show up for the game. They have to find 3 guys in the stands and put like pink shirts on them and do a Game 4 of the conference finals.
The playoffs.
Devils win the game Monday morning in New York. They have a hearing in, was it Ziegler at the time, the commissioner's office? Anyway, the suspension's upheld. Schoenfeld has to watch Game 5 in Boston from the press box. Bruins win in 7, but that's what we're referencing here. We could have this with Jim Harbaugh in the Big Ten.
Quick sidebar. Don Koharski had a brother by the name of Terry that reffed in the ECHL for years. When I worked in Nashville, Mark Jones, our trainer, we worked in the Nashville Municipal Auditorium. Kind of had all the fair food, a dump of a building, but it had all the different fair food, the mini donuts, the powdered donuts. Every time Koharski reffed one of our games, Jonesy would buy a bag of the mini donuts and put it on Koho's chair. Every time.
Did he appreciate it or no?
No, he pissed him off.
Did he know who was doing it?
Every time.
That's great. So anyway, we could have that. I will say this, even though I'm in favor of the Big Ten taking action against Michigan and Harbaugh, I think to do it today is BS. If they had done it yesterday, they hadn't gotten on a plane yet, Harbaugh could meet with his coaches. He could hand out responsibilities. The players would know. I don't like doing it within 24 hours of kickoff. That I don't like. To me, I would, if I was Petiti, if I couldn't have done this yesterday, I would wait till Monday.
I wonder if the suspension would be the last 2 games then, that he coaches the Penn State game, but he takes him out for Maryland and, wait for it, Ohio State.
So, listen, here's another hint why we think that this may happen. Mark, you've got the 4-letter network on the TV in your studio. Who's been on the 4-letter network all morning talking about this story?
Desmond Howard.
Mark, in the last month, how often have you seen Desmond Howard on TV talking about this story?
Not once.
So that leads all of us to believe that the word's out that Tony Petitti and Judge Judy are handing down their verdict today. Can they get an injunction? They got 24 hours. I mean, I'm sure they're on the phones right now. Who are they going to call?
Oh, do you think any judges in the state of Michigan, perhaps?
Well, but so what? Do they have jurisdiction? No, I'm being serious about this. Does Penn State, the NCAA, and the Big Ten have to honor what a judge in Michigan? No, seriously. Where does the judge have to be? What level of judge to have jurisdiction to intervene in the actions that the Big Ten Conference takes? Don't you think it would have to be in and around Chicago where the Big Ten's located?
I don't know, David. All I know is that when I read that courts were closed and that Michigan felt they could still get a judge on Friday, that it seememed to me they could do this in Michigan. I'm just going by what I read this morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's all I've got.
I would think we got judges and lawyers listening right now. Okay, I'm curious where it is you think that this jurisdiction would be that they could intervene in this, number one. But Mark, it's not like there's not a few judges in Chicago on the bench that went to the University of Michigan Law School. I mean, I think they could get a Chicago judge too.
I do too.
But
I'm fascinated by this, David. And I'm with you. This would be such BS to do it on Friday.
Yeah, it's not right to do it today. If you'd done it yesterday, fine. We could argue the merits of the suspension, but not today. I mean, literally, Michigan right now is flying to State College.
They're leaving early this afternoon by all accounts. They've not left yet.
I don't like the timing at all. Don't think it's right. Plus, also, I don't think it's right because they're playing a legit team here. They're playing a top 10, 12 team in the country here. Okay, I mean, they're not playing name the 10. They're not playing Indiana. I mean, you could suspend them at 8 a.m, the day of the game for Indiana, but come on now. This is the toughest opponent they've faced all year to this point. I don't think it's right. And I'm all for the punishment. Whatever it is, I'm for it. But I don't think the timing is good.
Cheating's cheating to you, and you've said suspend him.
Yeah, and this is cheating. Just for anybody not to call it cheating, I mean, you're kidding yourself. They cheated. And yes, everybody's trying to gain an advantage. This is cheating. It specifically says so. They cheated. And they got caught. I think they should be punished. But not today. Not today. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when. It's next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, crap.
Anybody on the text line?
No.
So, Brian, the story that's out there is Michigan is saying that they know that Ohio State and Rutgers gave what they had on Michigan in their signals to Purdue. That Ohio State gave the offensive signals and Rutgers gave the defensive signals, or vice versa. But the difference is that they didn't illegally obtain the signals. They did it the old-fashioned way, so that they gave Purdue what they had for the Big Ten title game last year. Now, that's what Michigan claims they have, and that was part of what they told the Big Ten. Your mouth was agape there for 5 seconds. Something going on?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I forgot to do good, bad, and ugly, so I've got to find all the stories. I got kind of just involved in the show.
Gotcha.
So now I'm frantically trying to find a handful of stories that are funny. It's not bad. All right, here we go.
My mom, by the way, wants to throw the book at Michigan. And she has no dog in the fight at all. She is hot. Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, 6 to 9. The Diamond District bonus hour from 9 to 10. Thanks to Jason and Todd and the Diamond District.
Big sale going on next weekend at the Diamond District. Big sale.
Next weekend.
Next weekend.
Got it. Okay. So Felipe should wait a week?
Or Trent.
No. Felipe. Trent's not buying a diamond for anybody. He doesn't even have a date. He doesn't even have a shirt for the date. No. Felipe's, got a year, serious girlfriend. The family loves each other. They're just a matter of time.
That's, I never was one when I dated that really got into having all the parents meet, because then expectations are way too high. He's in trouble.
Totally.
He is in a bad spot.
Well, I don't
know. Unless
know.
they get married.
They like him. She's in a bad spot. If she breaks up with him, the family's going to be like, we liked him. What are you doing? He's got allies
over there. He's basically married.
Yeah, I understand that.
There's a difference between basically and married, though. There is. And Todd and Jason have to get involved in order to bridge that gap. I'm just saying.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1928 we start out today. It's the win one for the Gipper game. The underdog Irish come back against Army. The halftime speech by Newt Rockne, win one for the Gipper. 1934, the first NHL penalty shot is awarded. Armand Mondeau was stopped by Toronto goaltender George Hainsworth as the Leafs defeat the Canadiens. The Steelers and Eagles played one of 4 penalty-free games in NFL history today in 1940. Much like the Steelers games this year, it was a 7-3 Steelers win. 1940, also, Walt Disney began serving as an informant to the LA office of the FBI. Walt Disney was a rat. How about that? 1945, number 1, number 2. It disappointed. Number 1 Army beat Notre Dame, 48 spit. Today in 63, Gordie Howe surpasses Rocket Richard as the all-time leading goal scorer with his 545th goal as the Wings take down the Canadiens.
Well, he only played for like another 16 years.
1969, Sesame Street premieres on PBS.
There you go. All right, I'm being serious for a second. Has there been a more influential TV show in the history of the medium? Influential. I'm not saying it was the best. Has there been a more influential TV show in the history of the medium? I mean, you could argue 60 Minutes. You could argue. But
Saturday Night Live.
Saturday Night Live, very influential. That's outstanding. But I'd go Sesame Street. I'd present that case to the jury.
Today in 75, the Edmund Fitzgerald was lost in a storm on Lake Superior.
Was Gordon Lightfoot sitting on a bench watching it? Is that where all that came from?
Wow. Be careful with the Canadian Troubadour.
I love that song, by the way. I used to belt that song out daily for years.
Like one of 10 I can play on the guitar.
That's awesome. Legend lives on.
I put this on here because I don't remember this, but I thought you might. Today in 1980, Dan Rather alleged that a cabbie tried to kidnap him and refused to pay his fare with the cab driver. I don't remember this being a story, but I remember the What's the Frequency Kenneth. I don't remember Rather in a cab.
No, it got me, huh? He wasn't even the nightly news anchor yet. Cronkite still had a couple more years in him.
Today in 83, Marvin Hagler would retain his middleweight boxing title with a unanimous decision over Roberto Duran in 15 at Caesar's Palace.
The middleweight, the middleweights in the 80s were incredible. Hagler, Duran, Leonard, Hearns, and we're not even getting into the Alan Minters, Vito Anafirmos. Unbelievable. It was so good.
Tough day for Canes fans in 84. They had a 31-0 lead against Maryland. They would go on to lose 42-40.
Frank Reich comes off the bench for Maryland, throws 6 touchdown passes. That ends up being a thing when how many years later was it? 8. Frank Reich, when the Bills are down 35-3 to the Oilers, early second half, leads Buffalo back to the overtime win. So he is responsible, I believe, for the biggest second half comebacks in both college and NFL history.
Today in 85, Flyers goaltender Pelle Lindbergh crashed his car. He was an incredible goaltender.
Took him to the finals just 6 months earlier.
86, Springsteen released his box set, the live albums. 1990, Home Alone premiered. The 2012 election results are declared today as Barack Obama defeats Mitt Romney. Uptown Funk released today in 2014, David.
Great tune.
Martin Luther and Richard Burton both celebrating birthdays today. And then a bunch of, it's kind of a B list of birthdays. Jack Clark, Sinbad, Linda Cohn, Mike McCarthy, Warren G., Isaac Bruce, Kendrick Perkins, and John Rahm.
Sinbad, huh?
Yeah.
Remember when he was a thing?
Yes.
He had a good
HBO
run.
specials, a couple of them.
Yeah. Sinbad was like Carrot Top. You know, he had a moment there. It lasted a few years where he was a big deal. Late night talk show guest and everything.
What did I miss, David?
I will say Sinbad had a routine in which he talked about if you're going to see a therapist and the therapist, after you get done talking, goes, "Really?" He goes, what the therapist then has going through their mind is as soon as you walk out, they're calling and they're saying, never take that phone number again. We're changing the locks. Okay, right. All Quiet on the Western Front is 95 years old today. The novel, the World War I novel, All Quiet on the Western Front, was released today in 1928. So 95 years old. It's a pretty good book. Hopefully all libraries are allowed to have it. I'm just hopeful. That's all.
I just gasped.
No.
That's all.
And by the way, today, the Marine Corps. It is, I believe, the 248th birthday of the Marine Corps. 1775. So there you go. Sesame Street, the Marines. It's a big day.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to the Peace River for the good, where John Chrysosceles found a fully intact mammoth jaw while diving in alligator-infested waters. It's estimated to be 10,000-year old. I think those people that go for fossils, I mean, that's really cool and it's great. But diving in the Peace River where there are alligators is something I wouldn't do. It's like the guy that dives for golf balls in ponds with alligators. It doesn't make sense to me, David. But he'll get a big payoff for that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
For the bad, we go to Rhode Island, where a drunk guy wearing a Bigfoot costume scared a group of trick-or-treaters in Rhode Island. Apparently, a resident called police around 6:30 p.m. after an intoxicated man wearing a Bigfoot costume joined a group of adults and children trick-or-treating. The group did not know the man and felt uncomfortable with him, and they called authorities.
I will say, I mean, if a stranger shows up in costume and wants to trick or treat with you, that would be a little unnerving.
Very much so, especially a guy in a Bigfoot costume.
Right. Hey, what's your name? Charlie. Hey, do you mind if I just tag along?
Trick or treat.
As a matter of fact, yeah. I mean, if you kept your distance, maybe, but okay.
All right. For the ugly, we come back to Collier County. Peyton Gibbs is 12 years old. She's on the autism spectrum, and she loves football. Her dad's a coach. He's coach at Golden Gate High School. So at the beginning of the season, she'd be on the sidelines. She would follow her dad around, tracking plays and stats. NBC2 did a story on it. Then all of a sudden, the Collier County schools have banned her from the sidelines. For a variety of reasons, including safety, sideline access for players, coaches, credentialed media members, and those working the games in official capacity. After being informed of Peyton's desire to learn about the coaching position, school administrators offered Mr. Gibbs an opportunity for his daughter to either sit in the press box or at a field-level family area. Now, apparently, ball boys and others are allowed on the sidelines, but not his daughter. He did not comment on the story. Grandma's pissed. She commented. She's like, there's ball boys. There are volunteer children on the sideline. Why is she any different from them? If anything, she has more sense because she's been on the sideline her whole life. Unbelievable. Collier County, fix this. Fix this now. You're making a mistake. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly. On today, November the 10th, 2023.
The run of 50 consecutive days of football continues with 2 college football games. You got to wait for it, though. 9 o'clock, ESPN2, SMU, SMU, 17-point favorite hosting North Texas. 7-2 is going to be pretty good in the ACC. I'm telling you, SMU in the ACC, they're going to do okay.
They're going to do just fine.
I mean, you get kids from Texas. It's just in there pretty good there.
And they'll pay.
Yes, they will. They paid 40 years ago when you weren't allowed. And now you are. Wyoming UNLV FS1 a little after 10:30. Money's all coming in on Wyoming. I took UNLV laid 5.5. It's down to 4.5. Oh boy. NBA, Trent's all fired up. They're back playing that whole in-season tournament. Trent, quick question. The courts.
Oh, terrible.
Okay. All right. I was just curious. For those that haven't watched, and that's most of you, they did brand new courts at all these arenas. And they're like the Crush NBA uniform or NFL uniforms from 8-10 years ago. They are bright.
I mean, it looks like a cartoon show. Like they're playing on neon orange courts. It's really bad. Tough on the eyes. Something different though.
Something different isn't always something better.
I agree. I'm just saying something different.
There's 9 games tonight. None of them involve the Heat or the Magic. There are some good matchups. The ESPN doubleheader, for what it's worth, Brooklyn and Boston at 7:30, and the Lakers in Phoenix at 10 o'clock.
Pretty good little hockey game on the other coast tonight. Carolina's at Florida.
Ooh, that is pretty good. A couple teams separated by a point in the standings. They're both 3 games over 500. Yeah, that'll work. So all I know, Mark, is can the San Jose Sharks make it 3 in a row? Vegas is minus 520 tonight. 520.
I don't know if I've ever seen a number like that.
I don't think I've ever seen a 5 before, which means you'd
Wow.
have to, you bet 100 on the Sharks and they win, you'd make 520. Wow.
And you have to bet 520 on Vegas to win $100 if they win the game. That's how big of a favorite they are.
I would bet the Flyers tonight in Anaheim because the Flyers lost to San Jose 2 nights ago, and John Tortorella must have run them through the toughest practice of their lives. They will beat Anaheim because they're afraid to get on the team flight home if they don't. Have a great rest of your day and weekend. Enjoy the Knowles and the Canes and everything else going on. We'll talk Monday.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and